Hello, everybody. How's it going? You know why we're here. You read the title. There's no explaining needed. Or maybe there is, I don't know. We'll see. We're chatting with F.D Signifier as soon as he hops on. So he has permissions to jump into my Discord that's secret, and none of you are allowed to join. And it's just for me and him. It's our own little thing. This is what I've been waiting for. Well, thank you, Matthew. I'm glad that you joined my channel knowing this would happen, and you've been waiting for it, so. Yeah, I told him there might be a communication issue because I'm bad at typos. I said 2:30 EST, which is his time, which is now for me, but then I accidentally typed PST. I did clarify, he did acknowledge my clarification, but worst case scenario, we're actually starting in 3 hours, but I don't think that's the case. So let's just see when he jumps in. Soypill and FD Signifier are gonna kiss Sloppy like on stream the same day David Lynch died. Is David Lynch dead? No, he's not dead, is he? David Lynch isn't dead. Did he die today? Oh my god, 1 hour ago? Jesus. I didn't want to find out this way at the beginning of my stream. Thanks, Let Me Die, for giving me that one. Ugh. Well, rest in peace, David Lynch. Rest in peace, the fourth best Dune movie director. Oh, that's why Professor Phillip made a Dune tweet. I responded to it 10 minutes ago. I thought he was just talking about Dune. Jesus, man. Oh. Let Me Die. There's a typo in there. That's 2 strikes. 3, and Buckaroo, you have to ban him forever from my chat. Sorry, by the way, if you're not a him. I just default to him because we live in a patriarchy. Let's see. So, no, don't actually ban him. When I say, I don't think I've ever said ban anyone, by the way. Don't act like for real. Don't actually ban anybody. Tyrannosaurus Rex, I have to ask, what is the soy pill's favorite dinosaur? If Leopleurodon doesn't count as a dinosaur, then Tyrannosaurus Rex. People die when you stream soy. Oh, no. Oh, here we are. I believe he's jumping in. Peak check? I don't know what that means, Thunder Surge. Hello? Can you hear me all right? I believe you're muted. Let me make sure that's not me muting you. FD is not dead. FD is loading. My predictions are correct, everyone. I will never have a stream with technical difficulties completely absent until 2026. The older I get, the more of a boomer I become, and the harder it gets for me to make sure my mic and everything is working. Aw, CWD, thank you for both of us playing a huge role in helping me understand the world, that the left isn't evil and is the right choice. The fact that you are comparing me to FD Signifier as someone who helps as an equal level is awesome, so thank you. Hello, are you back? No signal, Elgato.
Test.
Ooh, you're coming in crispy and smooth. Hello.
Hey, 1 second while I try to. I'm in a new studio space thingy.
You don't do in the your living room on the floor anymore?
No, I am as as I guess we'll get to a little bit later. According to Destiny, a wealthy, famous YouTuber.
Well, you have more subs than him technically, so you know he's punching.
Yeah, well,
he's punching up, right? Like it's a.
Yeah. Now, at the time, not so much.
Okay, we'll get into that, but I don't want to start off with a contention.
Yeah.
But yeah, take your time, do your setup. I do have a heart out at. Oh wow. You do have a studio and the green screen and everything. Oh, wait, Now I can't hear you. The mic is shut off.
I don't know why that happened. Hello?
Hello. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, everything looks good now.
Yes. Yeah, this is actually the least impressive view because I actually had built a custom like brick wall to do like main channel videos in front of. So it's kind of like an evolution of it wasn't my living room, it was my dining room floor.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so
you made that look professional, so whatever works.
yeah, it's amazing. I just like I'm like, how the hell did I make it with half the things I have now? Like a teleprompter that I used to read off my phone. Sorry, I'm also eating.
I'm reading off my screen. No, all good. No, it reminds me of like whenever I see a conservative YouTube channel pop up and they've got 6 different camera angles and a $4 million studio and like all this funding.
Right.
And it's just some dude and he's not very charismatic, but it's like, well, you're saying what I want you to say. Here's $100 million. Go make some stuff for me. Like we got to catch up.
If only we really had George Soros funding left to like they tell us they are.
I wish half as many of those conspiracies were true as they say, just so I could get my Soros check in the mail.
I need my Soros check.
Anyway, hi. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm the Soy Pill, as you know. You can call me Niels. That's my real name. Niels, yeah. So like multiple Neil. I prefer that just because like once I get to know someone and it's like, all right, like you're calling me by a YouTube name. This is weird because I'm not a YouTube channel. I'm a guy. And yeah, so you can call me that.
That's dope.
Do you want me
I see you're also like legitimately kind of swole there. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's my avatar was based on me, not the other way around. So
Got you.
Yeah, I'm trying to, fascist politics is on the rise, and if we can't beat them, I got to join the whole aesthetically, I'm more convincing because I'm the whiter person arguments, right? So
like you would think so, but I said in some video I like pointed out that like if you just took the average, like one of like several prominent leftist male influencer guys and put them next to the typical right-wing influencer guy, the difference in masculine presentation would be astounding, aside from maybe Andrew Tate,
Yeah.
Like it's pretty, but this has never been about actual like ideas and reality. It's always been about vibes and white supremacy, which we'll get to later.
Oh, well, maybe right away, actually. Oh, yeah, real quick, warning. I had a stream on Monday, and I was streaming with Base FCZ. I don't know if you know who he is. He's African-American, and I think he endearingly called me the N-word, which was, like, totally fine, but I think YouTube flagged it as hate speech, so I expect you know these rules better than I do or he does, but just be careful.
Well, I wouldn't call you that, but I might let it slide, depending on what we get into. I am a lover of that term of endearment. I use it frequently. I try not to use it in mixed company as to not create any confusion because I don't feel like explaining that over and over again every time I talk to a white person. So I'm like, we're gonna leave it off the menu. But it might come out. I just assume
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how I can get around that too, because my mom suggested.
Well, if it's the hard E, it shouldn't be flagged if it's the A.
That's what I thought, and it might not. So the problem is that YouTube doesn't tell me why they took it down, and I was able to save the VOD using a little hacking, and I looked through, and what they timestamped, it didn't even seem that bad. So it might have been an AI system. I'm not sure. I'm just saying, like, just let's be a little careful. Don't make broad brushes. But like you have made I watched your video essay, and you're talking about how like sometimes you can't even put the word black in the title, or the algorithm gets rid of it. So I think you probably know these rules like 100 times better than I do.
I've been around the block.
Yeah, so I think I'm on probation right now. I had to do a hate speech sensitivity training on Tuesday. So,
that doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me, sadly.
Yeah. So, anyway, so you can call me Niels. Do I call you FD? Do I call you Signifier? Do I?
FD is good. FD is what I tend to go by.
Cool. Awesome. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. The way we're having this conversation now, you saw my video on talking to Trump supporters, and you shouted me out. You called me problematic as a joke, but that was really funny. I laughed. What were your thoughts on it? How did you find it? What did you think about it? And what were your problems with it, if you will?
Yeah. So let me just first clarify the problematic. In a video I did a couple of months ago now on I think it's called "I Finally Understand Edgelords." I had a segment where I talked about my problematic white boy tier list. Of which you were not on at the time.
Not yet.
But it really was just like a handful of white male creators that I tend to watch every once in a while. Some I like and appreciate more than others. Some I really fuck with, like Fantano was at the top of the list.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then others I'm like, I don't really want to, like, I'll admit I watch y'all publicly, but like, I want to keep a safe distance from, like right now, Bad Empanada. I don't know what he's going through, but he's always going through something. And he's always doing something to make me remember why I don't usually speak of him publicly. But every once in a while, I'll poke in and see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And so like I'm gonna actually keep that as a running theme. And the reason I found your video is because the one I was speaking about specifically is West Side Tyler. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's kind of new on the scene. You guys should probably talk. I want to kind of call him like new. I think you and him and a couple of other creators are kind of like the second wave of normie adjacent white guy lefty streamer tube, you know, where you've been able to watch the rise and fall of the Voshes and the struggles of the Destinies and the Hassans. You've kind of like have influence from those groups where aesthetically and like probably rhetorically there's similarities, but you also know better from watching like some of the mistakes they made, some of the decisions they've made to say, okay, I want to engage with the same overall population, but maybe be far less radioactive at times, you know? And so like
that's pretty
you slid right in.
Say. The only thing I'd say you got wrong is that I didn't create any of my content because of that. As a response to that, I was creating content. I was just a nobody for 5 years, and I still pretty much am. But like, you know, I did watch these people like Destiny and Vosh and these sort of people since like 2017 or whatever. So like, I've been, like you said, a good video essayist, a good YouTuber, watches a lot of YouTube, watches a lot of video essayists. That's me for sure. Yeah, you got that part to a T. So
yeah, and so yes, I you know, so I fucks with that overall. So I found your video because Tyler pointed it out. And I watched Tyler. I don't agree with everything Tyler says all the time. I think I found him because he was reaming me a new one over my white rapper video take. He was digging into me. He didn't, I don't think he did. I don't remember it now. But I remember he had some contention. But it was at least, although Tyler's very spicy, it seemed good faith, and it wasn't based in like things that just made me immediately roll my eyes and turn them off. And that's kind of all I ask for sometimes when it comes to critique.
Yeah,
it's good faith, you know, reasonable things that like if we had a conversation, I can get you to see what I'm seeing or whatever.
Yeah, and that was sorely missing from the cohort of people you were talking about, where like I can see them devolving into this like debate bro status where it's like it's not just in the debate you're like this, it's almost every conversation. I'm like, you're just talking past each other. I remember that was the reason I never super chat, and I super chatted someone like, what is going on? Like, you're just talking past each other. I know you're better than this. Like, that is super frustrating to watch in real time happen as they devolve. So I get it. Yeah,
but it became the meta, you know.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, and I came up I guess in the middle of Vosh, Destiny, and Hassan kind of like getting to like this really big level.
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody was at like hundreds of thousands of subscribers and views a day or a week. And that one of my first big videos as a lefty YouTuber, Break Bread, which is now like 3-4 years old, I kind of give my treatise on the whole space. Some of that stuff I don't quite stand by today, but it was kind of what I was seeing. Like, you guys are loud and weird, and when it comes to black stuff, almost always wrong. And you know, anyway, so what brought me to, what's the video that Tyler pointed out for you was something else. Oh no, he just talked about you debating Destiny, and he kind of gave you kudos for the way you engage with them.
Okay.
And then I just kind of checked out your channel. I was like, oh, this is like really good in ways that I think are not appreciated enough, or at least for me, I don't think I appreciate it enough in the last couple of years. And I wanted to make a greater effort to like engage and understand, and in some ways like pull from, which is one of the things that after coming out of the election that I like had to kind of like contend with, I think everybody that's on the left, depending on your, regardless of your position, needs to contend with how how we meant nothing. If this was the most no bitches like election of all time for like leftists. The fact that, you know, the Harris campaign was able to ignore Palestine the whole time and think there weren't going to be any consequences. And then when you look at the data, there really weren't any consequences, at least from the Palestinian standpoint. It just kind of showed that we were that, you know, the far left, whatever coding you want to use, is much less. We're much less influential and much further than we thought we were. We're much further along than we've ever been, which is the kind of the paradox, is we have a louder, more prominent, more relevant community than we've ever have, but we kind of failed to recognize how that still was very far from being like politically relevant.
Yeah, 10 steps forward, 1,000 steps to go, sort of thing, right?
Exactly. And so what you did in that video was what I think more people need to do, which is to like have normal conversations with people we don't like or don't agree with, and kind of like make that more of a standard within, you know, these spaces, as opposed to the classic video essay dunkathon, which I still enjoy.
Oh, that's my next one. So yeah, I gotta mix it up.
You gotta have balance. You gotta have balance. You gotta and you gotta, you know, feed the meta. So yeah, so that was like, oh shit.
Don't ruin the don't spill on the new studio. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've
been talking a lot. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're good. You're saying insightful things. And honestly, I appreciate that so much that you checked me out. The fact that I was able to contribute anything to like your thinking or rhetoric is awesome to me. Like I never thought I'd be here. I remember having 500 subscribers a few months ago and being just happy that I had that many. Now the fact that I can even chat with you is awesome. And just hearing that it's like, oh, this was a good idea from you, who is a bajillion times bigger than me. That's super cool. But enough with the glazing. Well, actually not enough with the glazing. I'm curious, because you said in your video essay thing, like, oh, these people were all bigger than me. Or like, you know, I got big on the rise of like Hassan Piker and Destiny blowing up during COVID. I thought you were way bigger than that already when I had heard your name, but it like turns out like you exploded relatively recently, like 3-4 years ago. Is that true?
Yeah, I started making content during COVID, like a lot of people, and I think that's what to be more clear. Hassan and them all, I think, are like Trump getting in time, you know, post, not
like 2016, 2017, a little post Gamergate, but yeah.
Post Gamergate, but more like the rise of the alt-right, responding to the alt-right.
Yeah, well, that's what blew them up, like the debating those awful alt-right people and being like, hey, this doesn't make any sense, like finally pushing back on that with the same sort of edginess, dirty politics sort of thing. But then
a dirtbag left.
Yeah, I actually, it sounds like I started at the same time as you then, because I think my channel came 2020 or beginning of 2019. So yeah, the only difference is you exploded and I didn't, not till now at least.
Well, I had a couple of lucky breaks. I think I'm really good at video essays. I'm also old and like a real adult. No shade to you. I don't know how old you are. And I'll be 43 this year. And I think
hold on. What's your skincare routine then, other than awesome genetics?
Melanin.
God damn it! I knew you were gonna say that.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
How do I look like you when I've got kids and a wife and I'm 43?
Yeah, it's just, well, now it's a lot more naps, that helps, but mostly it's just you know, melanin. But yeah, I just started making videos. I'd never really, I watched a lot of BreadTube, but I didn't really imagine myself becoming a BreadTuber guy until I had my first like viral video, which was political, but not like really BreadTube political. At least I didn't think so. But it blew up so big. It was the Bo Burnham video. That one, it put me on the map for a lot of people. And then I saw my first real AdSense check. And I was like, oh, I can't not be political. Like, I don't feel comfortable if like this is how much money I can make talking on the internet, then I have to be like, for my own ethics, you know, and like personal sense of responsibility, I have to be more political in my content.
It would be stupid not to, like,
stupid not to. And I just like my, you know, elders and aunts and uncles would be like, so you just talking about anime the whole time? You got hundreds of thousands of people watching you and you just want to talk about video games? That's not how we raised you.
Yeah,
So
but if that worked and you could slap them in the face with a 10 grand check a month or something, it's like, all right, mom, like
yeah,
you're gonna talk shit,
they
but
they would still talk shit, and that it would sadly that would mean more than the check, because they would just be like, look, we don't need this from you.
we don't care how rich you are. Stop talking about
Right.
Japanese cartoons.
And you're right, getting to the details, sir. So we spent too much money and effort on your education.
I do want to get into your career more specifically later, but first, you did say something in your post that was, I would guess, a constructive criticism, maybe, but I do want you to elaborate. So you said, on the other hand, well, sorry, let me read your whole statement. And this is not like, sir, what do you have to say about this? I'm just making sure I get your words right. On one end, this video does a great job of explaining best practices and having useful conversations with people who have bad politics. On the other hand, it runs into the issue I've spoken on before, which is the intractability of white supremacy. So, for all the stupid people in my audience, not me, because I know what intractability means totally, but you explain it. What is the intractability of white supremacy?
Yeah, it's the big problem that I'm seeing right now. That I don't even like. I almost don't even have the energy to like do it much more, at least content on it, even though I am working on some things that I think are connected to it, is that we're so deep in the shit politically, and white supremacy is so connected to that shit that we can't even start digging in either direction effectively. The best bet is to like just let it be and get to a certain point, and then maybe we'll start addressing it. That probably wasn't the best explanation. Basically,
Well, I was going to say maybe we could take a step back because, well, I think you're about to do this, but just in case, because white supremacy, when people hear that word, many people who are not as like deep in the politics as you and I, like I know probably exactly what you're about to say, but people would think, oh, the KKK, the German National Socialist Party, but instead of hey, white beauty standards are the norm. White is the normal. Like, could you explain what you mean by white supremacy as it exists in America? Yeah, just separate those.
So
ideas.
specifically from that video, right? When the sex segments where you were talking to the guy, like literally talking to the guy, there was a moment where I was like, oh, there it is. When you said Democrat and he had a negative response. What I understand to be true, and we can, argue about this, is that the Democrats' biggest problem is that they mostly represent minority people, minority groups, black people, queer people, wokeness, etc. Woke and DEI are basically code words for the N-word or gay or insert whatever group they don't like. And what a lot of Americans across the political gamut, so I would say this is definitely a liberal problem as well, and plenty of leftists. That's partly been one of the beefs I've had with different figures that we mentioned earlier. I said they don't realize how deeply racist almost everything is and how it's connected to almost everything. And then when you point it out, there's a defensiveness and a dismissiveness at the same time. And then when you spell it out, it becomes, well, what do you want us to do about that? We can't do anything about that right now. And that's low key true, right? Low key, if Kamala Harris who's everybody like right now in California?
Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
I was going to say, if now is not the good time to say everyone likes him.
Maybe right now.
Maybe
not now.
But in general,
I think in general, right? I think actually this may end up being grotesquely a good thing for him if he plays it right. I remember how Andrew Cuomo came out of COVID and people were telling him to run for president.
Or Rudy Giuliani after 9/11.
After 9/11, like a tragedy success story. Great for politics. Anyway, if Kamala Harris was Gavin Newsom on the same platform,
exact same, but just a different person,
just a white man, I think she'd have won. I think
there's a good chance of that for sure. There's a non-zero amount of people who will just never ever vote for a woman or B, a black person, which is it's crazy to say now after we've had an Obama, but they exist, they're still out there, and they're a chunk of the population. How big, I don't know, but it happens. I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, people don't know that Trump got more votes both times, I think all 3 times, than Obama did.
I think voter turnout
part of that is
population and population.
Part of that is part of that is demographics, but it speaks to a thing that's there that is not going away, that's been there. Obama was also coming out of the 2000s and one of the most unpopular presidencies at least of my lifetime, and like had a very populist message, which changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
But populism in and of itself kind of cleaves to a white framework of engaging with the world and seeing the world. And like you have to at this point, my perception is a lot of people who would consider themselves minority status for a variety of reasons are kind of coming to grips with the fact that the options from a federal normative government level, because of course we can get into the more radical lefty theories of things that I don't really want to get into too much. Sure. But like from a normie standpoint in terms of our federal government and like big government access, you kind of have to run with populism, which means we have to run with people that at least they can have the exact same politics, but they better not be black or female, or they're not gonna make it. Another example is Magic. What's the killer? Luigi. Mangione, I always fuck up his last name. Mangione. I made the joke on another podcast that if Luigi Mangione was Lamar Muhammad, we would not be having this response to him right now. It would not be the same.
If he wasn't a hot, white, young guy,
if he didn't look like a gay porn star, there would not be this fandom around him. Yeah. But he does, so.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I see what you're saying.
That's kind of the core of it.
Yeah, so it's like maybe I'll summarize this in a much less elegant way, but what you're saying is there's a lot of rooted problems with people's view of the left, Democrats, not the left, but like Democratic Party.
Well, both Democrats. A little bit, but more so Democrats.
Right. Well, even then, like when I say the left, if I'm talking to anyone right of center, they mean the Democrats. They don't mean what me and you mean, which is I'm distinguishing left and liberal. I'm distinguishing progressive and liberal. They're like, oh, the left. So people get on my case on my comment section. They're like, when you say left and liberal, because they're smart and they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, look, I'm mostly marketing my videos to the center and the center right to try to pull them towards me because they think left is everything. Democrats.
They think Kamala is a communist.
Yeah, Kamala or whatever you call it, right? Like it's like this is ridiculous, and we think it's ridiculous because like I know real communists and they hate her, so like it's silly. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like there's this kind of immovable object of thought and maybe straw manning from the right towards the left, that it doesn't matter how reasonable you're being. If you hit that wall, you say Democrat, you say woke, you say DEI, bam, it's just a shut off, and they're never gonna move. Yeah. Okay. No, that's very true. I don't know how to address that. I agree. Sometimes you're right.
Well, that's kind of the point. There is so it wasn't so much a criticism of you. It was just kind of like, so I got a lot of criticism for my post-election video from people left of me, because I'm far left by like normal standards, but I know people that there are definitely people that call me a dirty lip because I did say you should vote for Kamala regardless of the problems that she presented.
How dare you?
Right, yeah, I knew that was going to elicit that response, but like to me, that was just the best thing. That was the best possible outcome of this election.
It seems like obviously just from a utilitarian standpoint, it's like, well, here are two things that you can both think are bad, but one is far less bad. I'm picking that one. Like, but many people have a problem with that. I get it. The frustration's there, but it's hard for sure. But you're about to elaborate this, and this is perfect because I wanted to talk about this. I'm making a video on. My next video coming out in a week or two is on Matt Walsh's movie, Am I Racist? Where he kind of goes after the DEI industry. And the DEI industry versus DEI in general, like diversity, equity, inclusion, like that's like
Robin DiAngelo's
exactly Robin DiAngelo. Yeah. So
she's in it. I forgot about that.
Oh, she is in it, and he markets her in it, and it's actually kind of embarrassing how much he advertises that like he got her, because when you watch it, you're like, she thinks you're weird, buddy. Like she thinks you're being fucking insane. So like, why do you like, you look stupid as fuck in this, but regardless, their message, at least like, and just to be clear, obviously DEI, like in its literal sense, I'm probably on board with, right? Like I like diversity of thought. I like making sure everyone's on the same page. I like including others, making sure everyone has a voice at the table. And when you have these initiatives at your work, at least where I've worked and what most people deal with, it's mostly like, hey, like, when you're hiring someone, take into account what they could bring to the table, right? And don't hire exclusively white people. Don't hire exclusively, Indian people. Like, get a whole mix of voices. Do recruiting
and build relationships in spaces where non-white people are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Just like real
I was also
simple
on a committee
stuff. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. And like
yeah,
stuff that's like even simpler than that. That's like, hey, you're hosting a company dinner. There might be vegans. Offer a vegan option. Like that's DEI,
right.
right? And it's like, no, a lot of people wouldn't have a problem with that. But in the DEI industry, and especially like a Robin DiAngelo or like these kind of workshops they do at the bigger tech companies, it seems to me that they're running into that problem you're talking about, where they have a lot of stuff that's rooted in truth, right? They're like, hey, look, there's systemic racism, there's historic, redlining, there's all this stuff that has downstream consequences today that still exists today. We need to attack it, and white people, we exist in this system. We have to do something about it. And they use all this academic language. They're throwing all this information at you in a 3-hour mandatory work training that you don't want to be at. And then she's like, why is everyone getting so upset at me when I call them white supremacists? And it's like, Robin,
Yeah,
like they don't want to be
and
here, like
right, they don't want to be here, and you're not. And what at the end of the day, the other problem is that doesn't challenge capital. It doesn't challenge the status quo. It's a book you should look into before you finish.
Ooh.
Called Elite Capture.
I already finished the script and recorded, but maybe I'll amendment supplementary. Elite Capture.
You got a couple of weeks. If you're going to be a video essayist, you got to be willing to last minute tweak. But Elite Capture it's very short. It's like 150 pages tops.
Okay.
And it's like this big. It's not even like it's really. I'm sitting around.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
I have it, but I don't know where it's at right now.
For sure.
And it's also an easy read. It's not like the usual sociology heretofore as prose in a lot of these books. It's pretty straightforward. But what he talks about there is kind of like a lot of this DEI industry stuff has become like a corporate boondoggle. For example, my wife, who does not have a background in sociology or anything, they asked her to chair the DEI initiative of her big ass corporation. This is a Fortune 500 company that they asked her to like chair the DEI initiative. And then when she didn't do it,
because is she African American?
Because she's black.
Okay, that's
yes.
the
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You must not have heard of my opinions on race mixes, which is we'll come back to that in a second. It's not true. But yeah, and when she didn't do it, when she declined, they gave it to like a secretary. So like. Yeah, like they gave it. It was basically just to say, "Hey, we did the thing. Shut up."
Oh yeah, it's almost always a
or we did the
liability
thing. Give us
yeah.
our, set aside money. There's so much stuff built into, like when people attack DEI, when the right attacks DEI, they're doing it because they're racist. But DEI does suck.
Yeah, for
and it's not for those reasons.
Yeah, it's because
Right.
it's this like corporate, like the rainbow politics. Like, look, we don't really care about this. We just, when we get sued because turns out we were doing something racist, we want to point at this and be like, well, actually, it's not our fault.
Right.
We did the
Look
training.
At these Kente clauses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We had the BLM, cookout dinner for our company, so we can't be racist. It's impossible.
We can't be racist.
Yeah. So that's kind of my criticism with his movie is like, look, this guy's coming at it from the wrong angle. He's got an agenda going in, and I think if you want to infiltrate these silly workshops that are clearly profiting off of white guilt and corporate industry stupid politics, that's great. Cool concept. This guy totally fumbles it because he's got an ideology and an agenda going in, and he just attacks it in the completely wrong way. So that's what's frustrating.
He could have easily made it into like an edgy late 2010s era skeptic anti-SJW thing, because the thing that anti-SJWs did well, to give credit to the devil, right, is that they did, because of that skeptic nature, they did look at the thing and say, this doesn't quite seem like it's gonna do the thing y'all say it does. And I can at least point to that. I may have a lot of racist tendencies underlying my desire to make fun of insert woke thing here, but at least the analysis there was of a certain level where a response was like necessary versus like, look at this dumb shit Matt Walsh is doing. I'm also making a Matt Walsh thing, but I'm saving it for later.
Oh, perfect. Maybe we can share notes. Because I do have a section where I want to go over the worst racist things he's ever said. Because it's like, hey, am I racist? Yeah. Yeah. If you're asking. But it's curious you bring that up because I think you know I mentioned like watching a lot of YouTube. I think the thing that got me, like, I've been watching YouTube since I was 10, 8, but like what really got me like, oh, I'm watching 2-3 hours a day listening to it at work was the anti-SJW craze because of what you're describing, was because I saw them attacking things that I saw was as silly, that was about it, right? There was no deeper analysis than, hey, this thing is dumb, this guy's saying it's dumb, I'm going to subscribe to him because I like him calling the thing I think is dumb. And so that was really interesting because I would subscribe to people that to this day I think are still really good, or have good takes, versus some people that I'm like, oh my god, like I was subscribed to this guy, like Steven Crowder. I didn't know his politics. He was just like, hey, look at this silly college lady, and I was like, haha, yeah. And then three videos later, he's talking to me about how The Quiet Place is an allegory for Christian abortionism, and all the Democrats are trying to kill the country. And I'm like, whoa, who is this? Who am I? Am I subscribed to this guy? Or I was subscribed to literal, like, Nat Sock, like James Allsop. Have you ever heard of him? Like, and not because well, he's I
know what they look like, and I know some of the legendary names. Yeah, but like I was
like a Fuentes or anything. Like might as well have been him because he was at Charlottesville. But before this, it's like, hey, I'm making fun of this silly college lady, right? Like, same thing. And then 3 videos later, you're like, whoa, like what did I get into? Exactly. So like, I didn't fall down the pipeline. I think there's a lot of videos on there like, oh, how I became all right. I was never even close to that, because the instant I got a sniff of something like disgusting right ideology, I'm like, all right, this is dumb, I'm out. But it is crazy how they did have that like element of reasonableness when describing something that we both agree probably wasn't the best. Like, yeah, it definitely happens, and that's hard to suss those things out, because
well, it's hard to suss out, and I would argue this is related to what we were talking about earlier, which is they kind of depend on the whites, what is the word? What's the phrase here?
Useful
benefit
idiot?
of the doubt.
Oh,
no, the white benefit of the doubt.
Is that a specific term? I don't know that one.
No, I'm just making that up right now.
Oh, okay,
it probably is like a specific term, but I'm literally just as grounded theory, soy pill exclusive, which is basically like, well, this is something that you do. Like Fanon talked about this, and Frantz Fanon talked about this in Blackface White Mask, which is like, to loosely quote him, white people get to be good on the essentially like on the strength of like, I am white, you will think of the best of me up until I prove you otherwise.
So plausible deniability, maybe, like it's like, plausible he's not being racist, he's just saying edgy stuff.
He's just selling edgy stuff. He's joking, etc. And then he has to like get really racist, and even then, like for some people, you have to like really break it down for them.
Yeah, it's like here's my manifesto about how I hate this specific demographic. It's like, well, but is this ironic? Like, it's like, come on, like
And then conversely, Fanon says, like, he was a doctor. He's like, if I'm a good doctor, if I'm a bad doctor, I'm a bad doctor because I'm black. If I'm a good doctor, I'm a good doctor despite being black. Yeah. And so that kind of is like, that is deep in Western thought.
Yeah, it's mainstream. I mean, like Charlie Kirk tweeted out that thing about like black pilots. He's like, look, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to get nervous. And it's like, well, only because of the DEI industry. It's not because they're black. It's like, yeah, all right, but like you're judging them based on the color of their skin.
DEI issue, which historically has done nothing to advance black like rates of employment in significant ways. In fact, if you are around like, the fact of the matter is, if you meet a black doctor, especially a black doctor at like a hospital that's mostly white people, chances are that's probably the best doctor there. Well, because of what he had to do to get there.
To be fair, I had a black urologist, and he treated me awfully, but I'm sure it had nothing to do with his race or his DEI. He just did not understand my penis as well as I did. So, it happens.
That may have had something to do with it. I'm not going to wood on that
one. Yeah, but no, exactly that, where it's like, oh, it's this mainstream, like this guy's in Trump's ear talking about how, oh, I don't trust a black pilot, but it's the left's fault. It's the Democrats' fault. But meanwhile, I'm out here like criticizing the race of my fucking, that's an incredibly qualified person, because in their eyes, oh yeah, this company needed to meet a quota, so they went and grabbed a random person off the street and threw him in the front of a plane with like an hour of training or something stupid. So it's very, very mainstream. It's disgusting, but it's there. And that plausible deniability is there as well, which is why now that I've blown up, like I do make a lot of edgy jokes, and you called me problematic as a joke, but like, if you watch like the entire content of my catalog, I guarantee that there's some stuff in there that you're like, all right, buddy, like I'm now that I have your DMs, I'm gonna slip in there and tell you some shit. Like, you got to slow down. But
I've only done that a little bit to people, and where I'm like, look, you're gonna cause me to make a video about you.
Yeah, if it's that bad. Well, if
No,
it's that bad and you did make a video, I would, I would hear you out because it's like, look, something's happening. If you are willing to put this much effort and use your big platform to criticize me, like there's got to be some merit to this. Even
well, no, not these days. After literally, I did a video 2 years ago called "Leftist Infighting Almost Killed Me," and I've barely been on Twitter since then.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made anything negative I've said about another creator has been subliminal, or very passing. Of course, I made some horse folder jokes, some taxes folder jokes, in different pieces of content. But for the most part, I've been like, I'm just leaving that alone.
Yeah, it's almost not.
But
worth
yeah,
it. Like because it's like
it really isn't.
It's the crabs in a bucket, right? It's like, all right, like I criticize Hassan, but I'm not going to make a Hassan video because at the very least he's promoting a lot of mostly good ideas to mostly good people, and he's got a huge platform. Like I don't want to fight him when I can make a whole video criticizing a Daily Wire person, right? Like why would I spend all that time? But I get it, yeah.
And that's something to know as you start to grow, you become a magnet for critique. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be like, it's weird. I'm sure you've already had it because you've been engaged with Destiny. I don't know if you all had like a really good like rapport. I didn't really watch.
So far, our rapport has been a little better. I would say he was, especially considering the topic. I don't know how you're so good at this. You're like literally, I have a list of things I want to talk about, and you're like sequiting them like really, really well. I'm not. But yeah, no. So we were talking about healthcare. It was the whole Luigi debate, and like I did all this reading and all this debate, and he went full debate, bro. Like bad faith, called me a liar. Like every fact you're bringing up, that's not true. And I'm like, look, I know you didn't read this because I watched your stream for the past 2 days, and you've been looking at other stuff. So like, please, just like, you don't have to give me the benefit of doubt, but like, stop calling me a liar. You don't know me. So I actually was able, and this was really nice of him. He had me do like a follow-up stream, and I'm like, look, here's a 15-page document. Let's walk you through this. You tell me where I lose you, right? Because this is all the evidence I've compiled that I've read that I think I could change your mind with. And he was nice enough to like, he spent 4 hours in this thing and really heard me out. I don't think he thinks I'm bad faith. And I got upgraded from you're a liar to I'm not convinced, but at the very least you might be misled. So I tried.
That's good. My thing with Destiny, well, I have issues with Destiny, but the bigger thing is his community. And I'm only bringing this up specifically now because I'm just speaking to, as you grow and you engage with other fan bases, and you have negative interactions, there is going to be a desire. There's going to be misinformation and outright lies or bad faith attacks on you. And you're still a normal person. Like I'm still a normal person. I'm going to hit 1 million subscribers this year, which is
good
still
luck. I know it's
hard for me to, it's wild, but I'm still like a normal person. And so when like I look at a comment and it says like the wildest, most mean shit ever,
I've gotten those.
My instinct, and my instinct is like, fuck you, like, and
I've been
I have a platform.
I've been hearting them. I'm like, awesome hate comments. Like I'm big enough to get hate comments.
No,
don't
like, stop doing that. Stop doing that.
No, okay.
I'm serious. Stop doing that.
Oh no.
Because what happens? So a couple things happen. One, this is something I've told Hassan personally. Like when and Hassan knows this. Hassan, it's actually, we've told each other this at different times. When you engage a lot with your criticism, it starts to warp your head. And also it warps your platform because you collect. There is a type of online guy that only watches people they hate. That's all they do.
Hey, that was me. That was me in the anti-SJW phase. Yeah, I get it.
Right. They only watch those people to argue with them, to say mean things, and then it becomes this weird. It becomes this real symbiotic relationship where if you're constantly responding to and giving energy to your haters, they give it right back. And then suddenly you have 5 videos responding to hate comments and like no content that you actually started making content for. I don't know if you saw the In Praise of Shadows debacle a couple of months ago. I'm sure some people in your chat will know. He's a video essayist. He's like left leaning, but he's not like a lefty essayist. He does horror stuff. Okay. And I like him. I like him still. And he, the algorithm is weird. And I guess he was having a down time. And then also this weird hate campaign was going against him from some people. I think Tyler doesn't like him either. But like, I guess he caught wind of a weird hate campaign. And instead of continuing to manage his content to be like the best horror content he came out with a 3-hour response video called Conservative Horror Movies. And it was like one of the worst things. It was really bad. And
It
I
was a bad
posted
video, or it was a
it was a
bad
really bad.
response?
It was a bad video and a bad response. And I posted it without watching it, which I never do, just because I wanted to support him. But I thought he made good stuff, and I knew I had fans that liked that. And then when I found out what the video was, and I went back to my own comment section, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Well, I get where you're coming from, but tell me if I'm crazy, because I come at this from the two sides of the spectrum. On one end, yeah, criticism can warp your content in a way that is probably not good, especially if it's kind of hurting your artistic vision. And that's happened to me before, where I had a friend who I was making some video on something, because like the original concept of my channel was like, let's explain something on the left the conservatives hate that I think is reasonable, like the concept of like a safe space, right? I was working on my safe space video, and then January 6th happens out of nowhere, and I'm like, all right, well, that sucks. That's crazy. Like, but do I want to make a video? I don't know. And I had some friends be like, you have to talk about this. You have to talk about this. And I made a video on it. And it's probably like my worst video. Like, if I had to say, it's not like a bad video, but it's like, it's kind of like, you know, like someone kind of criticized me for not making it, and I put it out. But on the flip side, one of my moderators and editors and a really good friend of mine, she criticizes the hell out of me. She's the most pedantic, perfectionist person, and I bounce every idea, every script, everything goes off her, and she shits on me like 24/7, and like, you know, 70%
Oh no, you
of that,
need those people.
Sure, but
you need those people.
But like, you know, she's my biggest hater, but also my biggest fan, if that makes sense, you know, and like that helps me iterate and make better content. And even then, like aside from both of those, I love, you know, yelling at people. Like, it's a lot of fun. Like, right. I don't have any reason to yell at you, but if this was a shouting match, I'd still be having a good time, right? Like, because I enjoy that sort of contention. I agree. I don't want it to change my trajectory, and I don't want it to shape who I am, but I don't want to ignore it completely, especially because sometimes people outside of your bubble criticizing you can give you good criticism. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of bullshit criticism, but like, I see problems with like maybe a Hassan right now where I'm like, oh, I think he should talk to the people criticizing him, and it'll make him better for it rather than ignore it completely. But what are your thoughts on that?
And that's the challenge, is that after you get to a certain size, it becomes really, well, it does become harder, but I do feel like I have a good grasp, which is, how did this negative comment make me feel? If it made me feel angry, and anger is like a derivative emotion of fear, right? But if it made me feel angry, then I'll probably just either ignore it or say something mean back and for my own amusement and call it a day. And like not think about it at all. But if it made me feel insecure, then I sit with it for longer. I maybe respond with a question for clarification. I say, this makes me feel insecure because maybe they're right. Maybe they have a point that I missed. Maybe I don't agree with them, but somewhere in my head, I know that they caught something that I didn't do good enough, you know? And so I have those.
Do you think that's like, maybe like, first of all, mental health wise, I totally agree. Like that can really tear you down, because you read like 4,000 people praising you, and that one comment that really gets to you, that's what you think about for the next 10 hours. But like, even then, like, if someone has done that to me before, and it made me feel shitty, but it almost kind of became this like motivator to work harder. I went to a Michael Knowles event off the top of my head, and I did a Q&A, and we chatted back and forth, and it was bullshit. It was very bad faith, because they kept ripping the mic away from me, so I couldn't respond to what he was saying. But I did something, like, I didn't prep, like I didn't like read a bunch of stuff, and he did this like, you know, bad faith tack. He's like, oh, you believe in studies? Can you name one? And I was like, no, I don't remember the name of studies off the top of my head. And of course he clip farms it, posts it all over, and like that was like not just a comment, that's like, oh man, this is getting seen by millions of people, like, haha, you idiot. And I saw that, and it was like, my girlfriend rolls over in bed, it's like, hey look, he clip farmed you. And I like get up and I just grind out this like response short in 4 hours where I make him look even stupider and like make fun of someone. And then like that,
you should have kept that in drafts.
I don't know, I liked it, I had a good time. And like it hurt, but it was a motivator. Like it was like, oh, you know what, this is true, like I should have been a little more snippy or had a better response here, and it made me want to change. So overwhelmingly I can see how that would suck, but I don't want to block it out. I want it, like, I go into my held comments and I'm like, give it to me, like give me the worst things, let's see what I did wrong, you know? So
it might be also a matter of skill. What's the skill set, and what are you doing here? So like, I didn't come for politics initially. I came because like I was a big Lindsay Ellis fan, still a big Lindsay Ellis fan.
Yeah. It's a shame she doesn't make
And
as much stuff anymore too, because she does.
But
Good
she
stuff.
does most of her stuff on Nebula now.
Oh, okay. Well, and she's
kinds
like
of
writing a
things.
book too, so she's kind of like
She's on her third book.
wow. Okay, maybe I should read
Maybe.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Shout
go on,
out to
sorry.
Lindsay Ellis.
Yeah. We like to shout
but
out
like,
smaller channels here. Yeah.
But I mostly wanted to just do black media analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like the political interlocutor part of me is not really a thing. I'm not a good snippy guy off the top of my dome all the time. Like not like the snippy quick comeback stuff. The debate bro tactics would probably eat me alive unless like I knew that I knew my shit.
Yeah. Which is
and
unfortunate because no matter how smart you are, if you're not optically snipping back,
right,
you look stupid, and then it's like, whoa, this guy must be an idiot.
Exactly.
I'm not listening to him. So I get it.
But
yeah.
if you're tuned into that, and if that's a part of your content, like if you're part of your content, then a response to negativity might be that classic like weightlifting mix. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that is what it is for you.
Yeah, we'll
for
see.
me, it's like I need to get this out of my head so I can stay focused on making good stuff.
Yeah.
But like for you, it might be, ooh, this is motivational. This is an angle. This is a place to improve, to make me, you know, to sharpen your sword, which I get. That makes sense.
Okay.
Just as much as you can, try to stay normal and balanced. Because I think that is what happens. That's what's happening, and what has happened to like bigger people with similar formats.
Yeah,
and
you don't let your haters define you, I guess is the ultimate takeaway. But yeah, just for clarification, you are right. That is me. Like while you were out there getting an education, I think you said you were a teacher, forging your family and your wife and all these connections. I was in Modern Warfare 2 COD lobbies, just getting blasted in the game, on the mic, by everything, and I was like, yes, this is me, forge me, you know. So like I have a skill set that a lot of people have, but like it's a very debate bro-ish.
But a lot of people have it, but it's not as good as they think. Like the debate sphere. When I was really on my anti-debate sphere like kick, and I was like, I had like, just, you know how you said you did a whole video in like 4 hours. Like I have that script. I have the full. I don't remember what caused me to really like crash out. This was multiple times, but like one in particular, I can't remember what it was, but I was ready to crash out, and I had like a 5,000 word script about debate bros.
Oh no.
That I think it was weird. It was funny. I got a text from Hassan. He just kind of knew you're about to crash out. Don't. And I was like, shut the fuck up, Hassan. I got things to do in my head. I didn't say it back to him.
Don't post the video.
And then my wife came and saw me recording it, and she was like, "Baby, no, you don't. No,
I couldn't hear you. I saw you from outside through the window. You look angry. This is not good. Like, don't do it.
Good. This is not your content, baby. Delete this." And so that script is probably gone to old computers. But the spirit is there.
Second channel, the hate channel, and then the primary intellectual channel. You don't ever want to.
Nah, because
I've seen people do that.
I do have a second channel. My second channel is more messy and less like refined.
Yeah.
But I still keep, and when I do, like I just wrote a scathing screed on Drake. Again.
Was it the video? The Drake was never good, or was that no, Kanye? Kanye was never good. Yeah, okay.
This one, I don't know how much you're keeping up with hip hop drama. Drake just sued everyone.
That was it. The Kendrick Drake beef. I'm surface level on that. So
yeah, he just sued UMG for harassment because the Kendrick song that made him feel bad. It's hard. Watch the video when it comes out.
I will.
It's really embarrassing and really anti hip hop.
Yeah, it's like you can tell you lost when you're like, you know, hey, you're not allowed to stop saying things about me. That's mean.
Right.
My mom said you gotta stop being mean to me. Oh yeah, no, it's like like Kai Cenat and like Aiden Ross, like he's like in these circles, like complaining about them saying nice things about Kendrick or something. Like that's so crazy to me, because it's like it's like wild. They're famous, but you're famous, right?
You
like
shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be on Aiden Ross's stream. But I have a take. It'll come out. God willing, Monday, Tuesday.
No spoilers, but it's the same energy as the Elon thing that just came out, where it's like he's got all these accolades and now he's like faking being a pro gamer, and it comes out, and, and he's like deleting Asmongold's like channel or taking away his check mark or something, leaking chats, and it's like, buddy, like, are you this insecure? Like most people that know you have no idea who this guy is. Like, come on. Yeah. So yeah, he is this insecure. So obviously, but
again, got to be normal. Being famous and normal is hard.
Yes.
Even if you're fake famous on YouTube, it's still hard.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Was it just seems like the perfect mix of famous and not famous to me, where it's like, as big as I get on here, maybe someone's recognized you in real life, maybe someone sees you at the grocery store, sure, but like no one's gonna, there's no paparazzi following you around, right? So you have all the good parts of, hey, I can say a dumb thing on the internet and 4,000 people are like, haha, nice, and like give me some dopamine, but I'm also not getting the, like, I'm not allowed to go into a restaurant because I will be harassed to death, or I have to have private security in a gated house.
But see, but here's the I would say, what's the opposite of like a sweet spot? A sore spot? Yeah, obviously, duh.
Yeah.
So it's actually a sore spot once you get big on YouTube, because I don't get paparazzi yet, knock on wood, right? I get recognized all the time, like pretty regularly when I leave the house. I'm always with my family too. So it's never fun for the most part. It's not always awkward, but it's never like, I'm never overly happy to meet fans because I'm like at the grocery store or taking my kids to a movie. Because otherwise,
it's hard because the power imbalance, right? Because you're like, you know everything about me. You're just a guy, so I'm like, oh, hey, it's great. Like,
also, here are my children and my wife.
Yeah,
are you a weirdo? Are you not a weirdo? Weird things have happened.
Don't follow me
home,
follow
please.
Us. Yeah.
Don't try to talk to me anymore after I say what's up to you. Like, and most people don't. Like, it's 99.9% of my interactions are very normal.
Well, I think that's because of the audience you've catered, right? Like, you have smarter content. True. Like, if you did the same thing for like an Aiden Ross or like or any of those people, I think you might run into
it might be a little weirder.
Yeah.
But the difference is you don't have then the resources of real fame and money to have like a bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? To have like a
well, that's why I like I gotta
well, I'm in the gym too, but like I'm in Georgia. You got guns. One of the if you go watch again with West Side Tyler, the wildest moment when I talked to him is that like the police came to my house in the middle of the stream, and I'm sure I have a folder down here in Atlanta at least, and so it was a little nerve wracking when they pulled up.
Did you get swatted or?
No, I didn't get swatted yet. It was something going on with my neighbor, but it's just any interaction with the police creates anxiety. When I'm like
good at talking, this is the next transition thing. But go on, sorry.
But literally, I'm talking. I don't remember what the subject is, but literally, when I'm talking and streaming, we're talking about politics and stuff. And then the police pull up and they start like looking through my window. I'm like, all right, you go watch it. It's a pretty surreal kind of weird moment. But that is that, and so like it should have been a normal person who's not in the public eye, especially in a political sense. As the police come to them, and even as a black man, I'll still be a little nervous, but like the police come to you and you're like, the police are here, right? As a fake famous political talker guy, every interaction with the police, I'm wondering, does this police officer know who I am? Did they see my video literally named "Fuck the Police"? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in a good way or a bad way, but it sounds like in a bad way. Yeah, like,
in a bad way. In a bad way. Did they see my Cop City video? Because I made multiple things about that. And so like that is the weird part of success in this sore spot, where like in a perfect world, I'm a big enough celebrity and I just stop being normal and I stop interacting with the society like most celebrities do. But I don't have, I'm still in the basement. This is nicer than my living room. It's still the basement.
Yeah. So all the worst parts of I have 1,000 million eyes on me, and who knows what like person wants to impress Jodie Foster next week and come after me. So
oh my God, when you talk to big YouTubers about the weird DMs and death threats, like you'll see. Well, you'll see eventually. God, I'm wishing that upon you, both because I want you to be successful, also because it's just misery loves company.
It's a good learning experience. Mostly right now, I'm just getting nudes from gay guys, but that
makes sense. I haven't gotten enough of those.
Enough? Oh, well, whoops! You just threw the meat in the water right now.
Right. Just put blood in the water. No, please don't. I've gotten some weird stuff, but not the gay news.
I did want to talk about the Cop City stuff, but real quick, last thing on comments, because I'm so confused. I posted about you posting about me, and like a good chunk of my comments are like, "Oh, that guy? Oh, FD?" And I was like, "Oh, well, this guy must be a more radical, like infighty lefty guy." You literally made a video against that, and I'm watching your stuff, and I'm like, all he does is complain. I'm like, well, first of all, that's all I do, so why are you watching me? But second of
most
all,
of them have never actually watched my content. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it'll happen. People will literally just start. Like, here's what happens. You have a ideological, especially in the coming, when you clash with the debate bro space, But I've had some classes with non-debate bro people, and it's complicated. And I haven't always been the best at handling things. I want to put it out there. But once you've created an anti-fandom narrative, all that's necessary is the narrative.
Right.
Once insert person here points to me and says that guy does this,
Then,
that is who you
yeah.
are to them.
Yep.
And they're not going to watch your content to actually verify or watch whatever clip played in full content text without the commentary of a guy to say what he really means here is that, black supremacy is the only way the left can grow. Like, that's literal. That's not literal, but like, that's the type of stuff that is clipped around about me. So like, if you've only watched that and only like been in the Reddit board about me negatively, and you identify with being a fan of insert person here that doesn't like me, as soon as I pop up, I always tell people whenever I'm invited to their platforms, listen, some weird people are going to come and they're going to be really pissy at you for engaging with me.
Yeah, on the flip side, I got some of your fans in my comments like, why do you think I, as a threatened person of color in this country, should talk to a Trump supporter? I'm like, look, if you watch the video, I say like, if you don't want to give these people the time of day, that is completely understandable. Like, I agree with you. Like,
and that's also why I'm trying to broaden my horizons, because although I want my main content to be kind of a safe haven for people who do want, like, what's the word I want to use here? A sense of security with their content creators.
You're trying really hard not to say safe space or
safe. Well, because I don't want to be I don't feel responsible enough to be a safe space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not against safe space. I think safe spaces are fucking awesome, actually. But I can't promise safety. But I can try, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but when I leave places,
empathy, you have some sort of awareness, but you're not going to like necessarily avoid every topic that might upset someone because you want to talk about it, right? Like, yeah,
exactly. So I can't really be a safe space, but I want to try as best as possible. But when I leave, I'm on my bullshit.
Yes.
So if you want to follow me to talk to Soy Pill and see me on my bullshit, then come on through.
Yeah. I'll help you out, FD. I'll tell my
no, for real. This is helpful. This is helpful.
Well, no, yeah. If I'm providing you, but obviously, like I said, like the numbers difference are here is
the number difference. But
I'm clout chasing you right now. Give me that delicious clout.
I'm clout vulturing. I'm doing my Drake impression. It's a quid pro quo.
Well, I was gonna say I have in my new videos now. I saw, I think Thought Slime was the first person I saw who did this. Surfs tried to do it too, where it's like at the end of all my videos now, I'm gonna be like, hey, here's a person. They have no subscribers. I like what they're doing. Go watch their channel, because you're doing that for me, and people have been doing that for me, and I'm like, why would I ever not do this? Like, we need more of this. Like,
everybody should be doing that, but not enough do.
Yeah. Okay, so now we can move on to this. This is maybe the contentious area. So full disclosure, by the way, like I said, I've been watching Destiny for 8 years, so I don't know if you call me a fan of his person. I've seen all the ups and downs, and
all the Destiny,
and I've been on the receiving side of the debate pro tactics now. I see why people really don't like that, but can you give the context of your kind of beef with him and just why you ended up not talking? Because let me give what I know, which is very little, right? I didn't want to do research into this because I didn't want to poison the well. I just want the whole story from the most biased source possible, which is you. I saw you were going to have a conversation, and then it didn't end up happening because of some weird stipulations on that conversation, and then he donated a bunch of money to the opposite organization that you were trying to promote, which was without any context as a whole. If it's like not harmful, is kind of funny as a petty move, but when I look into more of this stuff, it's like, all right, like, what is Cop City? What is he actually donating to? So that's why I want the full story from you. So if you can, whatever you're willing to talk about.
Yeah, sure. We'll have an exclusive. So, I put Destiny in my first anti-debate bro section of that video. It's called Break Bread, and it was kind of like my meta thesis on how I saw BreadTube, and this is like literally my first major. I'm a BreadTuber critique video in 2021, maybe less than 200,000 subscribers. And I barely touched on them or talked about them since then, like barely. But I kept getting significant, growing. I became a relatively prominent voice within the course of like a year. And at a certain point, Destiny viewers find me. And Destiny has a formula, especially at the time, for his content, which is I need to talk to other interesting people. Destiny, I'll give him this credit. He understands the meta of content creation in the political space. If you're not like doing the news or a video essayist, if you're a streamer reactor guy, and a debate guy, you have to have a robust Rolodex of people.
Yeah, he has persevered. You've seen all these other people he's talked to fall off because they don't change up the content. They don't know how to switch it up. And he's kind of shot past those people because he's like, look, I'm going to change. Now I'm in the red pill. Now I'm in the lefty space. Now I'm in this. Like, I got to adapt to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think his fans also understood that. He said as much to them, really. And so at a certain point in time, there started to be like needling on both sides, right? I'll be fair. I don't know when I may have first mentioned Destiny in a video, but like it was like, yeah, this guy that had a whole debate about using the N-word, which is really fucking weird. But at some point I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna bother with it, and I left it alone. Out of the blue, Killer Mike said something stupid. And I always have issues with Killer Mike. I love Killer Mike, but he says ridiculous things from a black, like, radical standpoint. It's really frustrating. So he says something. Well, it's funny because it's rage bait, because like it was a video from like 2 years prior. But this video of Killer Mike goes viral, and it's some really dumb black conservative stuff. And so I make a tweet about it.
Conservative? Isn't he like a Bernie supporter? Am I crazy? Or?
Yeah, that's my problem with Killer Mike.
Okay,
you would think, but if you look closely and you know how to read between the lines, I don't know where Killer Mike is, to be honest with you. He's definitely, yeah. So anyway, there's like a lot of Bernie bros all went and voted for Trump.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
So there's a connection there. So Killer Mike says something dumb. I tweet about it. Out the blue, and at this time, I'm still maybe like a third at best size of Destiny. Out the blue, and definitely with a much smaller following on Twitter. Out the blue, Destiny retweets me and calls me a wealthy, famous YouTuber. Well, black wealthy, famous YouTubers always saying dumb stuff about black people, and they're worse than white supremacists. It's like the most inflammatory, like goofy shit to say to a black person.
See, this is interesting because when you said I see Destiny's meta and you started talking about, oh, he's adapting to the zeitgeist, I was like, I thought you were going to talk about this, which is, how do I make this person come on my show, say something really out of pocket and a little bit further than what I really think on Twitter, upset them, get a little back and forth, then come on my show, kind of walk it back a little bit, because he does that a lot.
That's exactly what he was trying to do to me.
Yeah. And it's funny.
That's what he tried to do to me.
And this is not in his defense, but it's a thing I understand because of how much he's doing this. Because he did it to me is when we were in that debate, and he's like, criticizing me for lying. He's saying like, oh, you're criticizing me for not doing the reading, but you can't explain it to me. And I've seen him use this stuff against this like army of leftists that he's arguing with who do a lot of reading but are really, really, really bad at explaining it. And so his brain is poisoned against those people. He has like the NPC dialogue tree, like, oh, how do I counter these arguments, especially when I don't want to look stupid. So maybe his brain was poisoned against a bunch of like wealthier black creators that maybe say silly things. No, you don't think so? Okay.
Destiny's just a casual racist. He's just
casual, not a competitive racist anymore. He stopped playing.
Not a competitive. He's a casual. It's soft racism, diet racism. You know, a lot of microaggressions. He really loves his edgy jokes. A lot of N-word jokes, and that's his public persona on a lot of levels. And especially on Twitter, Nebraska Steve is what I called him. So he does that.
That's where that came from? Was that you?
That's me.
Okay.
That's me. Okay. Well, you know, I don't know if I'm the first person to say that. I don't know if I got that from looking at his Reddit and then like spit it back to him. But I'm pretty sure I don't know. I don't want to take credit for that because I know this is going to reignite his fan base eventually.
Yeah. Okay. So he called you something stupid. He said an inflammatory comment and he retweeted you. Then what?
Right. So I knew what the game was. I understood that tactic that he uses. Say something really inflammatory, ignorant, get you to come on stream so he can walk it back and make you look weird, and then you have a new orbiter because he needs content. And I literally basically that's what I said. I did a video on my side channel where I'm a little less refined, and I basically said Destiny needs people to make content about. That's why he's saying this stupid shit about me, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm not going to talk to Destiny unless he pays this much money to a cause, to a charity.
Like the Stop Rap City charity, was it?
It was Community Movement Builders. Community Movement Builders. It does a lot of leftist organizing in Atlanta. Specifically at the time, they were very much engaged in anti-Cop City activities. And I don't know if I don't want to go through all of Cop City, but
Could you give me like the basic overview of it? Just not like yeah, because I didn't watch
Cop
a video.
City,
I didn't do the homework, so
yeah, Cop City is a fuck. Cop City is essentially a response to the uprisings in Black Lives Matter in 2020 during COVID. They rioted in Atlanta, and this is happening all over the country. It's kind of concerning if you consider the encroachment of fascism around America, that multiple major cities in the country have built these police training centers, which have like some really elevated
militarization sort of
militarized
stuff, right?
So the Cop City was going to have this big shooting range and a helicopter pad and an urban warfare like what, I don't know what the term, but like a space
like a
where
training,
they were going to build urban warfare training space, where they were building buildings so that you can go in there and figure out how, if you had to go murder, kidnap, or arrest dissidents.
Yeah, which is crazy because, like, if you watch all the worst things that happened during the BLM protests and during COVID, like, at any point did you think it needed like a bunch of armed police to go in there and shoot people? Like, that was like at worst maybe some like riot gear, but like they got like APCs and they've got a shooting range. Like, yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, that's probably way more than it's needed.
It was also in conjunction and being trained by the IDF. And it was $90 million, $60 million of which was city funds. And like Atlanta is a unique city in a lot of ways, but like most major cities, we could use that for schools, roads, infrastructure, sewage,
lifting people out of poverty to reduce crime.
Lifting people out of poverty. There's so many things we could be doing with $60 million of city funds that don't include a $90 million police training facility.
Yeah, they talk about stopgaps and band-aids, but like talk about like a band-aid with a gun,
Exactly. So I and a lot of people that are here have done work to like spread the word. It was a big deal. A protester was killed. Some would say murdered, in the forest offenders shot to be most accurate, I believe he was shot 20 something times, but it was 50 something exit wounds. It's a lot there. And then after that, there was some unrest. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Cop City. It's a sensitive thing. I've been a victim of over policing in Atlanta. I am a large black man with dreadlocks. So the police bother me on multiple levels, and I'm a well-educated, well-spoken black man in a predominantly black city with black mayors, black police chiefs. I still am scared of these motherfuckers in my own city. So I'm against Cop City, and I said, look, I do not want to talk to Destiny. I don't want to be a part of his rogues gallery. I don't want to be a part of his orbiters.
Like he's Batman.
I mean, that's what it is. I have a good thing going as a video essayist. I don't need this look or this whatever.
I don't want this guy, like you said, my haters to define me. Don't make me in like, the Destiny showcase. I'm F.D Signifier, right? Yeah.
Right. But if it could raise tens of thousands of dollars for this organization, it would be good. Plus, to be honest, that would be an incredible own on Destiny. It would be an amazing own that he would never live down from.
Well, I think he might actually agree with the principles behind the community organizing that you're talking about. If I had to guess, like he probably would donate to that. Like
he might have had. Well, no, Destiny's very pro police. But there's a world in which Destiny is a more normal interlocutor, that we could have had a conversation that would have been a normal conversation, but that's not his style, especially with people that see themselves on Destiny's level. When you look at Destiny's run through Daily Wire people, it's a whole different character than the Destiny that's on his stream.
Which is annoying because it's funny. He talks about that with regret, where he's like, those people are bigger than him, right? Like you've got the Ben Shapiro's, Matt Walsh's, Jordan Peterson's, who have such a farther reach than any YouTuber probably ever will. And he's like, okay, like I'm going to try to be a little less, aggro against these people because he's clout chasing them. And then if they have more conversations, maybe I can get more angry. But what he saw is, I treated these people with kid gloves and they still coming out complaining like, oh, like Destiny treated me badly. Destiny said this about me. It's like, so why did I even do this if you're just going to like complain no matter what? I should have treated you like I treat F.D Signifier, I guess, which is
Right,
yeah,
right.
he should have 100%. But I want to say the same thing happened to me. Like when I Michael Knowles invited me on his show after the Q&A, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like I'm just a dude, and now I'm on this like thing that's going to be seen by millions of people. All right, I can't be too mean, right? Like I got to be nice. And like this guy's saying crazy stuff to me. He's like, yeah, it's not okay to be gay. Like all this just horrible stuff. I hope that doesn't get clipped.
Yeah, and it's
in
also,
context.
that's
By the
bad
way, wait, hold
optics
on.
for your.
For the YouTube algorithm, it is okay to be gay. Michael Knowles is bad for saying that. All right, I just want to put that out there.
Sure.
Like for the AI.
And that's kind of the thing. Like it becomes a like not consent is probably the wrong word, but it's a to seek approval of the rhetoric, to sit there in the middle of it
And not push back, right?
and
Like
not
when he
push
has like
back
a Nick
whenever-
Fuentes on, and he's pushing back, but like you're being really nice to the guy who's calling for the execution and deportation of like all of my friends and family. Like this is kind of crazy.
And these are things I had seen about Destiny well before this. I saw the Nick Fuentes stuff. I saw the N-word debate stuff. I was like, I'm not fucking with this dude. But okay.
But maybe I can use this for a good cause. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a good cause. He'll never live down the fact that he gave a black guy $20,000 to fight the police. Oh, the win-win for me. He agrees. He'll try to. His fans and other people will try to say he never agreed. He agrees to pay this fee to have a debate with me. And he says, all I have to do is unblock him on Twitter, because I had him blocked, because I was kind of over any type of engagement with Destiny before this. I unblocked him on Twitter for 2 to 4 days. I don't remember the exact time frame. I blocked him on Twitter and didn't hear from him again. I'm like, hey, he said, I'm unblocking me on Twitter so I can show you proof that I've paid this fee. Didn't hear from him again. Then I blocked him back on Twitter and just tweeted out Destiny. Essentially, Destiny is running. He has not came up with his end of the bargain. We will probably not talk. Where you at, Destiny, et cetera, et cetera. He then responds to that tweet not long after. Suddenly he's very quick with the response that, hey, because you're being so impatient, I went ahead and donated $10,000 to the Atlanta police. So he donated directly to the cause that was against
that
I'm fighting. And then furthermore, then of course I start to crash out. I call out ABBA, which I still stand by everything I said about ABBA. What happens? And then once I started investigating, I realized that he never planned on doing this in the first place. This is all a bad faith, like joke for him to own a black political interlocutor for disagreeing with him, essentially, right? For daring to.
Because I was going to say, like, so it sounds like you're going to say this is not the case, but it does sound like it is possible, knowing the people that he's talked to, that he has major problems with and will still talk to, that you unblocked him, and in that window, he maybe didn't see it, and then you reblocked him because you're like, all right, this guy's not serious, and then he sees that, he goes to check your block, he's like, all right, this isn't happening, right? Like, I can see that
that's not what happened.
Okay, and you'll say, but I could see that as miscommunication, maybe a talking past, especially just having now, talked to him. He's a very busy person, and like he'll miss stuff, right? Like you, like you've got kids, you got a family.
Let me just stop you.
Yeah, set the record straight.
This is what happened. This is the part of this is my opinion, and part of this is actual facts that I tweeted out. Like actually, funnily enough, a couple of months ago, might be my last tweet on Twitter. What I really think happened is that Destiny recognized that, unlike, no shade to I can't remember their names, but other black folks that have been on Destiny's podcast or channel to talk black issues, I am much more well-versed in these topics, because the debate was going to be around black issues, which Destiny constantly invites himself to talk about, which is another annoying thing. I am much well-versed on those things, and he was going to get destroyed in this debate if he came with these types of arguments and attitudes that he seemed to be coming with on Twitter, which of course, knowing Destiny, he backs down on, yada, yada, yada. So I don't think he ever really wanted to talk to me. I don't think Destiny liked the fact that I was kind of becoming significant without having interacted with him in a meaningful level.
Okay.
Because that can't be said for a lot of people who at the time were becoming prominent.
Not Hassan, not Vosh. Like, they came out of him. Like, yeah. And it
But
still
also
gets held over their head, too. Like, people will go in public and be like, Destiny made you, Like, so, yeah, you can't say that about you.
And then also, like, there's essayists that have said themselves to be Destiny fans, been on his stream before he started becoming like a persona non grata. It was Destiny, the guy that owned John Tron in a
Yeah.
debate, you know, over racism. He was a good guy, right?
Yeah.
So that is my theory on his goal, his like ulterior motives. What I know for a fact is that Destiny planned from jump to do exactly what he did, and I have him on stream talking in code to Tree of Logic about how he's planning to move in a specific way, and then I have Tree of Logic on her own stream explaining what Destiny did. This was an unlisted video,
Okay.
but nothing's actually unlisted. If you have video essay research skills, nothing's actually unlisted.
I get some comments on
YouTube.
videos of like, how are you here? Like,
How are you here? Yes.
But could you? Obviously, I don't want to have you misquote, but like, could you kind of paraphrase what that was, like how that kind of played out, or is that kind of it? Like he
Both of them basically speak to the fact that he never intends on actually talking to me. This is to spit in my face, and that's a direct quote. I'm going to spit in his face. So he spit in my face publicly. So fuck Destiny. Like,
Yeah,
like it's that simple. You know, aside from all the politics and stuff, on a personal level, you spit in my face publicly. You did some foul shit to the politics and movements that I care about.
Yeah,
And you did it for the sole purpose of being
spiteful,
an asshole, being spiteful.
Well,
so
that's the thing,
I'm
is like,
going
I
to-
love spiteful content, and when I saw that, like, oh, he donated to the opposite cause because like something didn't work out, like on a surface level, I see that, I'm like, haha, that's kind of a funny meme. But yeah, now that you've described what Cop City is, and I have like a little better understanding, it's like this is probably going to cause like material harm to people, and you're doing it for like a joke, and it's not just like a little joke, it's like a what, $5,000-$10,000 joke. Like this is like how many like, you know, batons and APC pieces and stuff is that buying, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah. So yeah, no, okay, I get that, and I'm not expecting this to go anywhere, but like, as now a consumer of both your content, now that I know the full story, if obviously, do not let bygones be bygones in this very hateful conflict, but if he rescinded and said, you know, I will give now double the amount of money to your cause, and like, let's have a conversation, would you do it?
Well, not really, because I don't believe in Destiny. Does that make sense?
That's out of context. That sounds like a very philosophical statement, but
Yeah, I don't. So wow. So let me say this, and let me be as what is the term you use? Good faith as I can. I think there's use to Destiny, because I can't reach and engage with every population and pull them over to the politics I think are most important. I don't want to have to be all things to all people. You know, I actually,
and like you said, the intractability of white supremacy, there's a certain subset of the population who will never watch you just because you're African American, and it's like, yo, like at least Destiny can get some of those crazy white supremacists and pull them a little left. So there's something.
Yeah, they would have to go through I don't know,
re-education camp or something. Like,
well, no, I was trying to think of a good SJW. They would have to go through a SJW to Destiny to like process before they even like are prepared to even hear me in good faith.
The alt-right vacuum,
I go to my
we'll call it the alt-right vacuum.
Alt-right vacuum, sure. So like there's that, right? Like Destiny, for however I feel about his motives as a creator, he does serve that role regardless, and there is a net positive to his presence online, even as he behaves like a sociopath every 3 to 6 months.
And I want to add, and this is not to glaze him, but I do like that he's like, in 2020 he went out and door knocked for like senators, like he's doing like material on the ground.
He was in Georgia. He door knocked for Raphael Warnock.
Yeah,
I've been told this multiple times by his fans.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think he's also talking to like politicians now. Like he's like, hey, I really want to win the next election. Like, so no matter how many problems, and I do have problems with a lot of the stuff he's done, this being one of them now, it's like, okay, I don't want this person to disappear, because I think they're doing, no matter how problematic they are, probably more good than harm, in the same way I feel about Hassan. But go on, sorry.
Right. Yeah, and so like there's that, right? He can do that without us ever talking.
Yes.
He can do that while I continue to see him as an asshole piece of shit that I don't want to engage with, and he can see me as the, you know, black supremacist weird guy that he thinks is bad for the left, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And we'll both serve our roles and our purposes separately, because I'm kind of over the when you look at like a variety of leftist movements throughout history, specifically in America, I'm thinking about how there was a point in time where, you know, Fred Hampton had organized multiple multiple groups in the Rainbow Coalition, and then Huey P. Newton was engaging with with the Black Panthers, but also the Nation of Islam, who he didn't really like, and like these various entities. And then like there was points where the Panthers are working with radical white groups in colleges. They weren't friends. They weren't on each other's meetings and like organizing activities, but they knew where to be when the thing was happening. So if we're talking about voting specifically, right? I'm sure Destiny's people will be where they need to be when the thing is happening, and they won't have to have anything to do with me or anything I've done at that point. And you know, same thing on my end of the equation. To force a relationship when we clearly, I'm not a fan. I don't really believe in his motivations politically. I don't think he's really all that motivated by his politics, other than his politics being easy for him to make content around. So like, I don't care about that. If you get people to vote and, you know, organize and do, community service or whatever,
canvassing, community service, yeah.
You know, do good things, then cool. I'll you know, do your thing. I haven't, and like, aside from just pointing out when people like try to retell this story in a false way, tweeting that no, this is how the story went, just making sure y'all know that. Aside from that, I don't think I've mentioned Destiny at all. Like, it's so funny. Before we talked, I actually, for the first time in years, I mentioned Vosh in a video, like explicitly to critique something he did, because it's about Hoteps, and he had a whole anti-Hotep.
Okay, I was like, did Vosh become a Hotep? I haven't been subscribing in a while.
No, he just had an arc that was a problem. But even that was like, it's a very small portion of it. But I haven't mentioned Destiny like at all or anything, because I'm just gonna let him do his thing.
Yeah, and now clearly you can legitimately be like, well, hey, look, I'm bigger, so like I just don't.
And I knew that was gonna happen, because you know, like I said that like a long time ago. Like, I don't need Destiny to be F.D Signifier. Like, it's not necessary. His followers sometimes don't understand and believe this. I hear that, like, he's only talking about Destiny for attention. Like, no, I'm not. I've been bigger than Destiny for a long time, actually. We've always been close, but like literally I've been either within 5K or whatever at times. When I was like, last time I checked, we were both at around 700. But I've been ahead of him for a good year now, not by a lot, but like,
and to come full circle, it's like what you said about the Black Doctor. It's like, well, yeah, you're a little ahead, but like, how many of those fans are like not subscribing to you because of who you are? Like, so you even with that, like, holding you back, you're still there. So
there's so man, don't get me into Black creator economy on YouTube. I know we don't have.
Sorry, I want to ask a question. I guess I don't want to get you into it.
But yeah, so at the ending story at this point. But that is what happened. You know, it'll be interesting if he tries to explain it differently, because you can go to my Twitter if you want to share it with your chat, and you can see me with the 2 videos that I found of like corroborating that his intentions the entire time.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it the last tweet you said? It's easy to find. I don't have to look for it, because otherwise
I'm pretty sure it's like my last 2 tweets, because I mostly stopped using Twitter in the last couple of years.
Okay, I'll after we hang up, I'll take a quick peek before I sign off. But this is good. I do want to transition then, because my friend asked me to ask this, and she'll be mad if I don't ask this. You don't have to like get super deep into this conversation. I don't know how contentious this will be, but your views on the police. And like, if you're like an abolish the police person, if you're like an ACAB person, or like, because like, let me just give my position on this, which is not very thought out or nuanced, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would guess that you know more about Black issues than I do, but that's just a guess. I am not like anti-police as a concept. Like, obviously we need some way to enforce laws, and like, you know, what do we do with people that are not following the social construct? I see a lot of the issues. I live in the Bay Area, so like Oakland and this area where it's like, I see over policing, I see cops getting away with like you know, time and time again. Fruitvale, like the Fruitvale station thing happened here, and like we saw that. It's like and or like Ryan Coogler, who grew up around here, I think, and like, you know, you were talking about, you know, I'm more famous and I still get harassed. Like, he went to the bank and is like,
and that was in Atlanta.
That was in Atlanta.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Chocolate City, Wakanda, Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is the Black center of like media culture and wealth in America,
Mhm.
and he still had a black person call the police on him
Yeah, and
because he
for
seemed like he was
context,
asking for too much money.
for context, for everyone who hasn't seen this clip, you can look it up. Brian Kugler gets harassed by the cops. He goes into the bank, his bank. He's got a mask on because it's COVID, and he wants to make a very large withdrawal because he's a wealthy man and he wants a lot of cash
It's for the
whatever
movie. It's
reason.
for Black Panther too, actually.
Oh, it's to pay for the movie?
It's like something. I don't know what
Maybe
I
for
don't know what
catering
he's
or
actually was
something,
doing.
right? Yeah, but
it's
for
like
the
yeah,
budget,
it was,
right? Maybe he wanted to
for the
give all the
budget.
people, catering or something. But he wanted to take like $12,000 out, and when you want to take that amount of money out at a bank that's local, you don't say it out loud. You don't go, "Hey, hello, teller, give me a lot of cash that might be easy to steal when I walk out of here." You hand them a note. You're like, "This is who I am. Here's my account number. I'd like to make a withdrawal." And that's what he did to this teller. He said, "Here's who I am," and then she says, "Okay, you want to make this much, and here's your ID, here's your account number." So he's verifying these things. He's giving her his identification, and
Yeah.
she sees this as like, "Oh, he's sticking us up. Like he's robbing us," and calls the cops. And like out of nowhere, like 2 cops come in, or maybe more, probably more, and one pulls a gun on him. And he's just standing there, like asking for a withdrawal, doing the completely normal thing, which apparently, like people who try to rob banks.
Nothing's completely normal when you're black.
Yeah.
That's the
But it's
thing.
like, like what kind of person robbing the bank is holding up their ID and telling you which account specifically to rob? Like, it's ridiculous situation. The kind of stuff you'd see in like some, 1960s portrayal of racism, but it's happening today. So obviously there are still extreme problems with policing, especially for minorities, communities of color. And what are your views overall of the police? What should be done about that? Like not to like get super deep, but just overview. Yeah.
It's pretty in line with what like some of the original, not all, because that Black Lives Matter got weird. The various movements and thought, schools of thought within that space got weird. But the short version is, we should essentially defund the police. Police cost billions of dollars to cities,
Yeah, especially in New York. Yeah.
Right. And the return on investment does not do anything. And that's historically low key by design. And I used to work in social work. I used to work in like direct services for like struggling people, for people in needs. And we don't have things. We don't have resources built in, like resources that are poured into policing. If they were poured into public services, would pay for themselves and then some within, by the time my youngest son was graduating from high school, in terms of the amount of spending that's done on policing homelessness or mental illness or, poverty.
It's funny you say this. It's funny you say this. The guy I talked to in my video, so Jack, the Trump supporter, this was his main complaint in the extended interview. He's like, "I used to work with the mental health patients. I used to work with disabled people, and it's not getting enough funding." And it's crazy that it's like, hey, you sound like a progressive right now. You're saying, hey, these like social programs are getting not enough funding. We're getting shit on by the government. Like, you should be on our side. You should be asking for more of that money to be taken away from, calling a cop on a guy having a mental episode, and instead to giving to you so you can go treat that, right? Like, I think that's kind of what you're saying.
Well, populism is popular until it's black. And like, quick tangent. No, I'm serious.
I'm serious. I'm laughing because it's true, but yeah.
Quick tangent is I just talked about this on a stream I did a little while ago. You go back to the New Deal. The New Deal changed America. The middle class in America is a result of the New Deal because the government said, what if we just gave everybody money to do stuff?
Yep.
To buy houses, to start businesses.
Dig a hole, fill it back up.
Right, like whatever. Like, and that exploded the American economy, but it was explicitly done in a way to exclude as many black people as possible, whether it's from housing vouchers, redlining, the GI Bill, all of that was taken away. And as black people agitated for rights to access those programs over the course of the next couple of decades, the closer they got to them, what started happening? They were like, well, you know what? Nobody gets shit.
Well, that's like the gun rights in
Who wants a
California,
handout?
right? That's how the Black Panthers, like policing the police, and then they go to the government buildings. They're like, whoa, maybe we should ban guns. Like, whoa, what's going on?
Really, like with guns? No, none of that shit. Yeah. White people, white communities filling in their own swimming pools with concrete. Like, this is yes, that's the thing. Google it.
It's like
when integration started happening in different places around the country, white communities said, you know what, fuck our pool. We're not sharing it with no black people.
Being racist isn't funny, but sometimes racism is so comically funny to me. Where I'm like, really, like this is what we're doing now, like just to get it one over. But wow, okay, yeah.
And so popular comment. This is why, like, although populism is probably the meta of politics right now, this is the thing I'm worried about, is because we will get, as long as we don't tell conservatives that the thing they want will help black people or gay people, they will vote for it.
Yeah, that's so true.
They will vote for it. And as soon as we mention this might help minorities, well, fuck that thing. That thing is woke. It's DEI.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that is like the point of my video, is like, if you just avoid the trigger words, like they'll probably be on board, and then they'll just vote. Like, just don't.
But that leaves unsaid the kind of like ugly hard thing.
Yeah,
which
like,
at some, like right now, I don't give a fuck. I just want to stop the really, like, I want to go back to neoliberal fascism. I don't want Christo-fascism.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get back, once we get back neoliberal fascism, I'm in your ass. I'm in everybody's ass once again. Yeah. But clearly, we're not at that point in the moment. So
that's the silver lining of the Trump presidency, is like, I'll call out the Democratic Party when I think they're being silly, but right now all eyes are on the people in power, and I love shitting on the people that are not on my side. It's much easier. There's way more wrong. Like, I get so much more content out of this. So like, that's like, from a capitalistic standpoint, cool. This sucks, but like,
so all my attacks from the left, I think there probably are more black liberals angry at me right now over my Kamala perspective than any. Kamala was in my last cop video. She was on the cover with a pig.
You said to vote
I changed
for her, right? Like, so.
Yeah, I said to vote for her, but I was like, but also, fuck Kamala Harris. Like, if you really want my opinion, like, vote for her, and then like getting her ass when she's in the office.
Yeah, exactly. Hold their feet to the fire, which is what all the Republicans say about Trump, but then they never hold his feet.
They never do. But we never do either, which is a whole other. But getting back to your original point, so. Yes. I mean, it's pretty simple. You divert all those resources from the police, you would fix so many problems. If you look at the history.
Let me pause.
Oh, sorry.
All resources? Because this is my position. When people say defund the police, I'm like, if you're saying we pay these people way too much, and this is a stopgap measure, and there's so much money here that could be used for things that would stop more crime in the first place, get police out of situations where they're not really helping and causing it to be escalated and violent, I'm so on board for that. That sounds amazing to me. But the problem is that message gets thrown in with the me people.
No police ever.
No police ever. Police as an institution is impossible. Like, so.
Yeah, so no, so security is a thing that we will still need as a society. Mm-hmm. And you should have security forces, security entities. I'm not the perfect abolitionist to be able to tell you exactly what that looks like. Yeah. It should probably look different from place to place, region to region, which a lot of legal institutions do. There are a lot of models for community policing and like citizen engaged policing in cities around the country that have been proven to be effective at both reducing crime and reducing negative experience with the police.
And to clarify, you don't mean like, hey, Joe from down the street is like walking around the neighborhood every once in a while. You mean take the police force from the city that they're in, not from 3 miles away, not from this like corporate institution where they get trained by the IDF, like very specifically. Yeah. Like,
so if I'm just kind of going off the cuff of like the top of my head, if we raise the standard and lower by defunding, and we reduce a lot of the problems that society has, which the police are held responsible for because they don't want to reduce them in any other way, because that serves a whole other purpose, yada, yada, yada. Again, you should watch my video about this. I get into it better in more detail. But I don't say this, but long story short is, if you reduce what the police are responsible for. So I'll give you a easier example to explain. I'm a former teacher.
Yeah.
Teaching was, for me, not just you guys read this Shakespeare play, your quiz is on Friday. Mm-hmm. I was a lunch lady. I was a counselor. I was a security guard. I was a coach. I was a mentor. Like, I did all these things. Not It's literally what you have to do to be a halfway decent teacher, because the resources needed to serve the children I was in front of. And this is sometimes at white schools with more resources. I still was all those things.
Well, it's funny you're describing that. You're describing my high school experience, where I had teachers that were the coach, the lunch lady, the security guard, and it was predominantly a white school with better. It was the better school compared to like the urban school, and like we still had a lot of problems. We had cops on our campus, like it was
And mind you, I'm only getting paid to be a teacher.
Yeah.
All those other things,
Which
when I say,
already
like,
isn't enough. Like, yeah.
Right. Like I would, like, there's multiple teachers at the school I used to teach at that would spend hundreds of dollars on snacks a month just so the kid that wasn't eating at home would get a snack before they came into class, so they wouldn't fall asleep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a real thing.
Yep.
And so what that is creating, that is society kind of turning a blind eye to the actual needs of the people and saying, we're handling that. The teachers do that.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, no, the teachers shouldn't be doing all of that if you want the kids to actually be educated. Or you want decent teachers. You're only going to get shitty teachers that stick around and take their paycheck.
This is
same thing with the police officer.
Do you know the Gaussian curve meme where it's like the stupid guy has the same opinion as the smart guy, and like that's the right opinion, and then the dumb guy, like, this is the like, Republicans aren't evil, like, you know, they just have a misunderstanding of the problem. But then I see them like vote against school lunches for free for kids, and it's like, this is literally like, there's no reason not to do this. This literally just helps everyone. This literally makes everything better. It stops truancy. You get better grades. The people don't commit crime. Like, this is what you want, and you're voting against it.
But
like,
black people,
oh yeah, well, that's
and now
true.
Mexicans will get free lunch.
Well, can't have
that. That is literally why. That is literally why they're against free lunch, because they know that people, poor people, and black. Anyway, so you do it. So the same thing with the police. Most police action, like the average police call, is for a domestic dispute, right? Why domestic disputes happening? Economics, mental health, housing. Like, then people aren't fighting their spouses every day because of cheating and I don't know who didn't wash the dishes or some shit. It's the social pressures of being in relationship with other people. And then when you talk about poverty, if you're in an impoverished area, where are you going to argue with your girlfriend at? Probably outside.
Yeah.
And so what happens? Somebody calls the police. It really is. Yeah. And so
that's
so basically.
Yeah. Well, sorry, go on.
And then if it's not domestic disputes, then it's mental health emergencies.
Yeah.
So, like,
because these people don't have access to those like places, so it's like, hey, this person has untreated schizophrenia. This person is like, got autism that might make them violent, but like they've never had a social worker or someone to take care and show them how to navigate the world.
Or they have one that has like 75 people on their caseload. It's really like me becoming a leftist, because I was a hardcore Obama guy once upon a time. But I started moving to the left, not knowingly, because I was working in social services and I was seeing up front how the system was designed to protect the system. Yeah. And I was like, this is clearly not like an accident. And I started being more critical and questioning. Anyway, so that's what it comes down to. So, like, if you take mental health professional, relationship counselor, housing coordinator, and all these things out of the responsibility for police, and they just become security because a bad thing is happening and we need people with guns or whatever to come around and check on this bad thing, we probably wouldn't have nearly the amount of problems that we have with police. But that's not what they're designed to do.
And that's what's so scary, is like, that's so obvious to me. Like, it always baffles me. Well, not baffles me, I understand, but like, it's so annoying when you try to explain this. And this isn't like some esoteric idea. It's like, look, crime, like, conservatives, I feel like, have this idea. It's like, crime is because of bad people. Bad people cause crime. Right. Like, you were born evil. And it's like, no, like, you can really track what is causing crime and what areas and why and how it's because of, economic factors here, or like the over policing here. And like, all we have to do is take some money here and put it into like, a social program. And suddenly over the course of a couple years, that's the classic marshmallow test. It's like, just wait a second. Don't eat the fucking marshmallow. You'll get 5 marshmallows if you wait a year. Like, people can't do that. They can't separate those ideas.
Yeah. And that speaks to, deeply entrenched, and we start getting into, is that the Protestant work ethic? Who the hell is that? I don't know. Deeply entrenched Western ideals and ideology is when we start getting there. And that's hard you can't outvote ideology, if that makes sense. Nope. Like, you can get people to vote in their best interests if you trick them, but you can't necessarily outvote ideology. Ideology has to change over time through exposure. Yeah, and people are impatient.
That's why I'm a doomer on climate change, because I'm just like, no one until our houses. Oh, I was gonna say until our houses are burning, but that's literally happening.
It's clearly
like, no,
not enough.
That's because of illegal immigrants setting fires. That's not because of climate change.
The trans firefighters are making it so the DEI trans firefighters. couldn't fight the. I guarantee you that's about to happen. They're
No,
gonna
no,
find
not
one
about
trans
to. Not
firefighter.
about to. Oh, the trans. Well, I was going to say the lesbian firefighter thing is already, that's plastered
Oh, so I didn't
everywhere,
even
right?
know.
Yeah, yeah. There's
See,
like,
there
there
you go.
were like 2 or 3 fire chiefs that were LGBT, and they do some, like you said, rainbow corporate video about how, hey, like, I'm LGBT and I'm in a position of power. That's good. And then it's like, well, this is why everything is going wrong. Like, as
Yeah,
if
yeah.
like, unprecedented 100 knot winds and like droughts and all this stuff does nothing. Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, they're gonna do it, and they're
It's
doing it more. Yeah.
it's the meme. Sometimes memes are amazing. Shout out to another problematic white guy on my list, PF Young, where like it's the meme with they just put the chip in. They take out the chip of this thing and they put it back
What to be
in.
mad at now? Yeah.
Yeah, and the eyebrows get all angry. That's so incisive and true about a lot of conservative thought. It's not very developed. I don't want to believe that people were Googling what is a tariff after the election, but it seems like it was true.
Hey, in their defense,
know?
I didn't know what a tariff was, or I didn't really think about it because no one was talking about it. But then I didn't
Right.
vote based on what Trump told me a tariff was. I was like, oh, someone's talking about tariffs. Let me read about it just in case.
But most people didn't vote based on most of Trump's voters didn't vote based on what he said. They voted on what
Vibes.
he represented.
Yeah,
The vibes.
the
you know what I'm
vibes-based
saying?
politics. It's winning.
Yeah, it's winning. And so we need better vibes. The Democrats need better vibes. And I'm going to help them get better vibes, and then I'm going to destroy them. That's my goal. My goal is to get them back in power and then to remove them from power forcefully with a bunch of blue-haired, not genderqueer feminists.
Hey, I'll be
That
the
is
Antifa
that is
super
woke.
soldier on your front lines if you want. Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
So.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I have another call at 4:30, so I want to make sure we had time to
no.
4:30 Eastern time.
No, this seems
So in 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. I mean, to wrap up, I think. Thank you so much for coming on. I do have one thing to say because like we've been not contentious at all, and I'm gonna call you out because I got to fact check you. You got something so fucking wrong. You're gonna seem so stupid when you see this. I don't know. You don't have to open it now, but in your video essay, everyone can open it. Go to 28 minutes. He says, "You don't actually know me," and that's no longer true because I know you now. So you have to take that video down and edit that part out because
Did you see? Did you catch the song? And you're not a hip hop fan, though. You know how old are you?
Vaguely guess.
You're white. You don't have melanin.
That's true. Hey, I'm a quarter Latino, so I've got like a little bit of like
got a
anti-sun.
I guess anti-sun. You have a little bit of sun resistance.
Yes.
Plus sun resistance. So you look like early 30s at most. So I'm gonna give you as a white person 27.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I'm 28. Nice. That was really
There
really
you
good.
go.
That was perfect.
I know white people.
Well, yeah, but not as
I'm
good
an
as
expert.
me, the white man expert.
Yes, yes. No.
You probably
That's
honestly
that is
having
my so that is my Matt Walsh video. What is a white person? As soon as I can get a budget for it.
Okay.
I've been studying y'all. I'm like Dave Chappelle.
Real quick before I totally forgot to ask about this stuff. You transitioned to this as a full-time career, and you are far beyond where I am in life. As like you have kids to take care of. I'm assuming you have a house. You got all this stuff. When did you feel comfortable making that transition, and how were you able to? Because I want to be there eventually, but I know I'm not there yet, and I don't know when I should feel secure.
So my actual decision is not the one I would tell people to make.
Okay, good to know.
In retrospect, because I got over 100K. I blew up off of one video, the Bo Burnham video, but I had like several videos kind of like edging on blowing up. But the Bo Burnham video made me a lot of money in like a month, and I was like, oh, okay, this is real.
Yep.
But even then, I said I'll give myself 6 months to see like if this is sustainable. And then I got signed to Nebula, so that made me feel like, okay, I'm gonna have access to a lot of resources and opportunities through Nebula. So let me jump in now to fully take advantage. I would not have done that in retrospect had I known what I know now, which is that YouTube success is very volatile and very fleeting.
Oh, I already know. Yeah, this week especially. So.
Right, you have to learn the algorithm and all the stuff is very gamified.
It giveth and it taketh away.
Yeah, it does. So that's why I made that video, which was one of my worst performing videos. I feel so bad.
It was so good though. I really liked it.
But like, yeah, you have to learn that game and how you fit into it before you can say this is going to pay my bills. Because if you have success early, there's a lot of people that blew up during COVID. and a lot of them could not sustain the level that they were at during COVID. A lot of them are very much stagnated. There's people that were here before COVID that their growth has slowed down severely in the last couple of years. And that still might be me, but I now kind of getting to a point where it wouldn't matter if I decreased a lot because I kind of have a healthy floor. But yeah, so I wouldn't quit your job until one, you're ready to deal with what this means as a job, which is different than doing it as a hobby.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to deal with thumbnails, you don't want to deal with the algorithm telling you that you used the wrong curse word and you can't even get them to tell you which curse word it was.
No, I've done that already. These things have happened. I'm happy I didn't do anything stupid before experiencing this because I knew it would happen, but like really living through it is like, holy shit. Like if this was my livelihood, I would die. So
yeah, people freak out. It's very stressful. And it is valuable to have. My wife is a key ingredient to my channel. Not only do I talk her ear off about like video ideas, but she tells me to shut the fuck up and don't post that a lot. You know, so like, but also just having like a solidified, because when you have a solidified outside of was AFK life, it also means you don't overly invest into your own community. Never, people probably telling you to start a Discord. You say, I don't know. Yeah, never start that Discord.
I said never do it, but I wanted to confirm from someone who has more experience, don't do it. So this is like, if anyone asks again, I'm going to point him to this. FD says no. Yes. I say no. I do not want that noise. I do not want all the drama. I don't want to come out and hear, oh, I woke up this morning and some people are screaming at each other in your Discord. This is the soy pills community. That's the problem.
Right.
Like, get the hell out of here. This is not, I'm not your dad. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just a guy.
Right.
Like,
but yeah. And so to cut it short, basically once you feel like you have a solid ebb and flow on where you sit in the algorithm, how you can get the algorithm to like you. That was a weird hand gesture to do to that.
Squeeze the algorithm for all that it's got.
Squeeze the algorithm. But you gotta know what makes the algorithm like you. Yeah. And once you figure that out and you've got like a pacing with it and you have a trajectory that you kind of can plan toward, then I would quit your job.
Yep.
But until you have that, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
well, my job is great. I don't hate it. You know, it's one of those like this pays the bills, but also like I'm good at it. I can make good money. I can live in the Bay Area, which, you know, I don't know how anyone else is doing it. So yeah, it works out. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but from my perspective, you're also going to get to a point of success within the near future if you're growing as fast as you seem to be, where you're kind of gonna have to make a premature decision to either like strike
because you're getting. I'm gonna lie to my parents about it. I'm gonna say I'm still at this job, and they're not gonna know. But that's the problem is you're talking about this flow and this like, okay, can you guarantee like this kind of algorithmic hits? And I know it sucks so much going to my 9 to 5 and being like, you know, this isn't bad, but like every hour of the day I'm thinking if I put all 8 of these hours into my videos, I'd be making 2 every month and I'd be doing live streams every day. And it's like, dang, I could be doing so much more.
Yeah. Important lesson that I think was in that video. Don't get caught up on consistency and pacing. In terms of coming out with videos.
It's
because
not
one thing
I know what you're saying. It's not about that. It's not like I want to put 2 out. It's I have 6 ideas I want to rant about to an audience of people, but here I am typing about like, you know, how to make a button
ECS
brown
reports
instead of green, you know, like this is silly.
But even with those 6 ideas, and I tell this to people all the time, some people listen, some people don't. You also have to like, you have to spread those out to 6 months, even if, or your videos are like 20 minutes long.
Like
right. You're
10
not doing
minutes max I've ever done is like 40. Now my streams sometimes go 9 hours because apparently methamphetamines.
First lesson, don't keep your streams live on your channel ever. Well, it depends on what you're making your content. Are you going to make your channel streamer highlights? Or are you going to make it video essays?
Well, I like YouTube separates them. YouTube separates them completely. So there's a whole tab of like, you can look at my live streams, but that does not show up in the subscription for the feed. It shows up.
Yeah, but the algorithm doesn't separate them.
Oh, okay.
And so what you're doing is you're building 2 different audiences. And every time you post a video, if it's live and in the algorithm, all YouTube is asking is that people watch this, that watch your other stuff.
Okay.
Your video essay people are not sitting down for your 3-hour stream. Your streamer people are not sitting. They're probably not coming to your 20-minute video essay.
They are. So, actually. The streamer, my chat loves my other stuff, so that's why they're in the chat. So
those are, but those are your chatters though. Those aren't your streamer.
And,
that's
yeah.
not your streamer audience. Your chatters are your lifeblood. Those are also your patrons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those are your core people. So like that's why I literally have 4 channels now.
Wow.
4? Yeah, I have 4 channels now.
But you
I
split
have
off
my
after you exploded, right? You didn't make 4 and accelerate from there. You got really big.
Yeah.
Used the bigness to say, "Hey, look, go subscribe to this thing now."
Oh, to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But it was also because I had figured out early on that if I do a stream on my main channel, if my last video got 500,000 views and my stream gets 120,000, the algorithm was like, "Oh, he fell the fuck off. No more for him." And no, seriously.
Yeah.
I think
No, that makes
is
sense.
the thing.
So maybe I should transition to Twitch or something to do the stream there.
Or you can just, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Just don't let, if people want to watch this whole thing that we just did,
people keep showing
they're gonna
up.
they're gonna have to go somewhere else. They're gonna have to go to your Twitch replays or to your Soy Pill streams page or to your Soy Pill highlights page or whatever, because that one, it's other streams of revenue, but also the algorithm will not see you as successful if you are not like constantly hitting that same number over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what happens to a lot of creators that want to diversify on the same channel that YouTube doesn't really do a good job of explaining to people. YouTube doesn't want diversity on the same channel. They want that channel to hit. They want Mr. Beast is Mr. Beast because he makes the same video with different explosions every 2 weeks. And then he has his Minecraft channel. Yeah. But he has this Minecraft channel. He has this, I don't know, vlog channel or whatever. He doesn't do any of that stuff on the main Mr. Beast channel. That's for a reason.
Okay.
So
all right, I might have to branch off soon. I feel like I'm not big enough where I really can, when people will still see it. But yeah,
how many subs you got?
22,000 I hit recently, I think.
So yeah, it doesn't. So it's not until you start getting close to 100K that YouTube starts like truly trying to make you its bitch.
Okay.
like for real.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
you can break, like you can be shitty for the next, like the rest of this year, and then blow up again, and YouTube is like perfectly fine. But once you get to like 100, once you start getting bigger,
that's really
it gets harder to like
diversify,
emerge from the mud.
Okay, so it sounds like what I'm gonna do is
I would do it now. I would do it now. I would do it right now. There's no reason. There's no drawback. The only drawback is you'll get less views right now, but that grows over time. My side channel, my Signified B-side channel, which is my main side channel, started out as stream highlights. And then like this time last year, or maybe like halfway through 2023, I said, you know, I'm just going to start doing short commentary videos there. It already had over 100,000 subscribers, but the commentary part of it became what the channel is going forward, and it's fine. Yeah. Like, so, and there's no drawback because it's lower stakes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As long as you keep your main channel the breadwinner, the money. It's kind of like you watch wrestling?
Sometimes. Like UFC, or do you mean like WWE
no, like,
wrestling?
No, WWE wrestling. Oh, it's UFC.
Well,
wrestling? No, it's not. Well, or like, you know how a movie studio will say, okay, we have the Avengers coming out, which is our big tentpole movie, and then we're going to do this weird art. We're going to do Nosferatu. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that we know isn't going to be as big.
One for
and
them,
as long
one
as
for
we
me.
have
That's what
exactly.
Say, yeah.
There's no drawback to doing that. And I can talk forever about this shit if you ever want to just chat like separately.
I'll let you go. You got your thing in 4
YouTube
minutes. You need to breathe
shit.
and drink and all that. But last thing, someone super chatted me and asked for you to say book recommendations. You already said Elite Capture. Do you have any others?
I'm not good with book recommendations.
Well, this one seems like a good one. I was going to say, I don't know if you've read The New Jim Crow. That's a book that like kind of, not radicalized me, but like that's like a very good descriptive of what we would talk about.
This is my favorite white people read this book.
Racism.
Especially for like a more moderate kind of like, I'm just starting to dip my toe into social justice and racism. Like that is perfect for like regular white people to read. It's a little thick, it's a little academic, but it's not it's not like other stuff I have down here that I won't show on stream.
Okay. No, I know where you're getting.
So it's not George Jackson. If you want the real shit, here you go.
Oh, hold on. The white light isn't picking up the title. Could you read it, or are you allowed to say it?
Blood in My Eye.
Blood in My Eye. All right, that's going on the list.
Yeah. So if you want two sides of a very like, if you want to see where you can start and where hopefully you'll finish, I think that was good. I think that's good.
Well,
Oh,
awesome.
Black Faces White Mask by Franz Fanon is another really good. Is it Black
White
Skin?
Mask.
Skin White. Yeah, Black Skin White Mask
Black
by
Skin White
Fanon.
Mask. Cool.
Yeah, there's another one that's like good, and then Wretched of the Earth by him is like that's the end result. So,
Cool.
all right, let me go, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was amazing. Nice to meet you. I do know you. You have to take down your video now. And yeah, have a great one.
Peace and blessings. Reach out. Shout out to the chat. I hope they were nice. I wasn't looking.
If they're not, I'm gonna yell at them. So
yes, good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
All right. That was awesome, guys. That was a lot of fun. I really like that guy. I don't know why everyone's hating. I saw some people saying he's a moron. Very stupid. Clearly not a moron. FD is the GOAT. Yeah. I can't believe a black man is recommending white people books. This is a book recommendation, guys. Come on. There's only finally not there's only gay person in this stream. Guys, real quick, we're gonna take a peek. Thanks for subscribing, Grufflebum. Soypill, get on Twitch. Yeah, I'm either gonna move to Twitch when I stream, or I'll just make a second channel. I guess I'll start doing Twitch, but then I can't talk to Destiny anymore. I'll get banned. Your first stream with hate orbiters joining. Oh, goody. FD can get really cringe over race stuff. Maybe. I have yet to see that, but maybe he was hiding his power level, as they say. But real quick, I do want to look at what he tweeted about the Destiny stuff, so let me see if I can find that. Yeah, see, we got a lot of FD fans in here, which I can understand. Like, that guy's really easy to talk to. That was great. You can, those just nuke ad revenue if you talk about Destiny. Well, if you have him on. I don't know if I want to go on Kick. That's where all, like, the racists go, right? He's most certainly not cringe over race. Yeah, like people were saying like, oh, he's like anti-race mixing. Like I did not see that at all. Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. I found the video. Let me add a little window capture here. Game capture. Oh, here. No, we'll move to. Now, if I go here, my webcam's going to turn off. I can do that real quick. No, wait. Capture. Window capture. Let's look at. Bam. Go into an incognito window so I don't get doxxed. Bam, bam. Oh my god, it's going to make me sign up. Okay, hold on. Let me sign into Twitter. Excuse me, guys. Give me a second, being a boomer. I'm not streaming my password right now, am I? No, okay, we're good. Two-step verification. Now you all know that I have a phone. Very cool. And bam, bam, bam. Let's look at this. Yeah, there's a lot of parasocial stuff, which was why it was interesting watching FD talk about parasocial relationships, which, like, had I been a fan of his before he shouted me out, I would have had that. And I'm glad that I got to see his stuff kind of after, and now that we can have this conversation where I view him as, like, a human being and not a channel on YouTube. Yeah, that video is wrong now. It says that he doesn't know me, but I do know him. Second Soy channel. Yeah, maybe Soy streams. I don't know. Hi, Zap. Thanks for the subscriber. Let's see here. Let's add this window capture. Window capture. Whoop, no, wrong one. Sources. Browser source. Add source. Add source. And, oh my god, no. Streamlabs, please. Sorry, guys. Being a boomer. Give me a sec. I almost got this. Because we got to go in like 10 minutes. Window, window, window. Here's the window. Adding a source. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Oh, okay, I can change this one. No. No, 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 no. Where is it? Oh, this is so useless. Sorry, guys. I'm just fucking around with this in all the wrong ways. Exit this. Are you on YouTube full-time? Absolutely not on YouTube full-time. I want to be on YouTube full-time, but I can currently not do that. Add a new source. Window capture 1. Here we go. Is it this one? Or gotta close one of these. Close this. Edit this. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, no. Is it this one? There we go. Okay. Let's take a peek at this little thing here. Gonna put this in the background. Make me... I'm just not going to leave the Discord, because why not? And let's look at what he has to say about the Destiny thing. Do you choose your hours for your full-time job? Not, I mean, sort of. Like, obviously, I'm going to be working during the day. Like, I'm on lunch break, and I'm about to go back to work, so. All right. Let's watch this,
so much.
everybody.
Okay, Steven.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you see my DM?
Yeah, I saw it.
We can talk in code. You don't have to do that, right? You do know that, right?
Yeah, I know. Why?
Because don't bend the knee to no bitch ass nigga. I don't
I'm not
understand why
bending
you
the
Oh
knee.
my
I'm
god, damn it. I swear to God, if this gets flagged. No! Beep, beep, beep. Everyone, don't use slurs. God damn it. All right. I shouldn't have watched that on stream. God damn it. Well, this is why we have the second channel. But I'm just going to assume that that is indeed what happened. Until I watch that and verify for myself. Oh, Christ. If I get a strike for that, I'm going to be so upset. Because it's like any human being who watches that is just going to be like, hey, obviously this is not hate speech, but here we are. Fucking stupid. Yeah, exactly. Tree. Thanks, Tree. Hey, Drunk Doodles. Hey, dude, just checking in. Oh, also, hi, Rabbit. I watched the tail end of the convo. I don't watch a lot of FD stuff, but most of his content I do enjoy. Yeah, guys, go check out FD. Shout out to the smaller channels. He was really nice. I really liked him. Do we have a second mod? Thanos, I could make you a mod. You're always here, and I so far have not done anything I don't like, but maybe that's how you infiltrate. Right now, we don't have... Well, Buckaroo is currently my second mod. The soy sauce is my other one. So, yeah. Thanks so much for joining, guys. Obviously, you can watch this on the channel. It looks like I'll probably be branching off. Just FYI, what's upcoming? The Matt Walsh video. I am editing it. It is in my Sony Vegas. I don't know if I'll be done by tomorrow night because I'm flying on Saturday. I could bring my laptop with me to DC and try to edit it there, which will just take a lot longer because it's slower and doesn't have as much RAM. But I want to get that out to you, not to rush it, just because I want you guys to hear what I have to say. And just a little preview. Part of it's going to be talking about this, do the workbook, very briefly. And yeah, I'm going to the inauguration. I'll be there on Monday. I probably won't live stream it because, like, who knows what'll happen. But I will also then have that inauguration video edited and out to you sometime after that. So thanks so much for joining. Love you guys. Stay cool. 155 viewers. Wow. Okay. Probably a lot of FD people in here. But yeah, take care. And type 1 to end the deep state. I love you guys. Good day, good night.